For original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. U.S.-Israel strikes on Iran ramp up ahead of President Trump's 8 p.m. Eastern deadline for Iran to reach a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or he says a whole civilization will die tonight. Pope Leo calls the threat unacceptable. CBS's Natalie Brand.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is saying Congress must immediately end this reckless war of choice, he says, before President Trump plunges us into World War III. It's time for every single Republican to put patriotic duty over party and stop the madness. Other Democrats are going even further, with some saying that President Trump's threat earlier today amounts to war crimes and genocide, adding that the U.S. military must disregard any such orders that violate federal and international law.
Correspondent Elizabeth Palmer in Tel Aviv says Iranian officials has spoken to the Reuters news agency and has responded to the threat of its infrastructure being a target.
He said if Iran's power network is targeted, that will plunge Saudi Arabia and the Gulf into darkness. In other words, that Iran would then turn its missiles on the Gulf's electricity infrastructure and everybody would suffer.
CBS News has learned that American journalist Shelley Kittleson has been freed after militants from the Iranian-backed Kataib Hezbollah kidnapped her in Iraq 1 week ago. This according to 2 Iraqi government sources and a source familiar with the situation. The Trump administration has officially launched a fraud crackdown division.
The nation now has a National Fraud Enforcement Division meant to zealously investigate and prosecute those who rip off the American people. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche says,
fraudsters, scammers, tax cheats, or anyone who lies to get rich off the generosity of the American people should be on notice.
He says the Trump administration will spare no resources in giving prosecutors the tools they need to do justice. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
Ford is recalling more than 400,000 pickups and SUVs because their windshield wipers can fail. Reporter Jeff Gilbert.
Ford says customers have complained about the windshield wiper arms breaking and in some cases falling off of vehicles. So it's recalling 2021 through 23 F-Series as well as Expedition and Lincoln Navigator SUVs. No crashes or injuries have been reported, but Ford has had more than 1,500 warranty claims.
The Michigan Wolverines win a second NCAA basketball title on campus.
I went to sleep at 3 a.m. and they're all knocking down these stop signs and everything, fireworks up in my apartment, so I'm up ready for class.
Stocks are down on Wall Street. This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Morning.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
A recall against Governor Ferguson. More on that coming up. But first, a quick check on your KIRO News Radio traffic. All westbound lanes of State Route 18 just reopened over Tiger Mountain Summit about 15 minutes ago after a full closure earlier to pull a semi out of the ditch. Here in Seattle, it's going to take you about 15 minutes to get through downtown on northbound I-5. You're slow from the West Seattle Bridge just past I-90, and then a brief backup there at 520 across the Ship Canal Bridge. South 5, you're looking real good. Just a brief backup at the Ship Canal Bridge. And in Renton, northbound 405, it is packed just briefly between the Maple Valley Highway and Sunset Boulevard, where a collision was just cleared out of your way. So Renton to Bellevue will take you right now about 15 minutes. This report brought to you by KIRO News Radio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. A recall effort is underway against Washington Governor Bob Ferguson. An attorney accuses the first-term Democrat of violating state law by failing to fill 2 vacancies on the Public Disclosure Commission, leaving the elections watchdog without a working quorum. The recall petition has been filed by Connor Edwards. The Washington State Standard describes him as a prodigious filer of campaign finance complaints. King County Executive Jermiz Zahili says new audit protocols are in place after what he says was a systemic failure in internal accountability. KIRO News Radio's John Repp has the story.
Initial reports found that grants increased 95% from the Department of Community and Health Services without even basic monitoring to ensure that money was properly spent. Speaking with Gia and Ursula, Zahili called it unacceptable, but says change is taking place.
Right now, we have hired the internal audit director. We're doing the base budget analysis. We're implementing performance measures.
He says the increased oversight also includes ethics and fraud prevention training for anyone who oversees those contracts. John Repp, KIRO News Radio.
Funding for a Hanford cleanup could take a major hit under a Trump administration proposal. The plan cuts nearly $400 million from the site's current $3.3 billion budget. The Tri-City Herald reports radioactive tank waste cleanup would be affected. Senator Patty Murray says the cuts are unacceptable, while the administration calls the proposal a strategic refocus. Boeing played a role in the rescue of 2 Air Force airmen who were shot down over Iran last week. KIRO News Radio's Frank Lindsay explains.
An Air Force official tells Bloomberg each airman was carrying a standard-issue Boeing communication device known as the Boeing Combat Survivor Evader Locator. It allows a person to tell rescuers where they are. During his news conference on Monday, President Trump referred to it as a sophisticated beeper-type apparatus.
When they go out on these missions, they make sure they have lots of battery space and they're in good shape.
The Air Force and Navy have bought thousands of those handheld units since 2009. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
And now your KIRO News Radio weather. Partly sunny later this afternoon with a high around 57. Back to sun and low 60s tomorrow, near 70 Friday. Overnight lows right into the 40s. Cloudy and 48 in downtown Seattle. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome to the show. Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Jake Skorheim here. Spike O'Neill sitting right there.
Hey, brother.
A lot of stuff to get to, Spike. A lot of stuff to help us make sense of it. Why don't we start with all this national news about what's happening in Iran, the 8 p.m. deadline, all that stuff. Then we're going to get into some space stuff later in the show.
Blend it up a little bit, yeah. Blend it up with international space travel.
Yes.
It's the lighter news of today. It's the fluffy.
Though, is it?
It's the fluffy news.
It's
interplanetary.
Interplanetary.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk with, this is really interesting. There's a local guy who was scuba diving, as many people do. It wasn't locally where he was scuba diving, but he was scuba diving and in the Caribbean, and he gets attacked by a crocodile, which is the scariest thing imaginable. And he survives, which is obvious because he's going to be a guest on the show. It would have been a very boring interview otherwise. He's going to be on the show with us and talk about that experience and what the heck happened, how did he get out of it.
And why he wasn't in Green Lake, where this thing is nearly impossible.
In Green Lake?
Nearly impossible to be attacked by a crocodile.
I would recommend swimming in Green Lake. A lot of duck,
that's what they call it. Yeah.
Duck,
droppings? You want to clean it up? What?
It's a duck disease. It's like a duck not a fever, a duck itch.
Duck itch?
Not duck itch.
Say that slowly and carefully.
Anyway, this guy's going to be on with us in a little bit. Super interesting.
Washingtonian.
Can't wait to talk with him. Yeah, he's a guy from Washington. So we're talking about.
And he's a specimen at 72. And it's probably why he's able to take this interview.
Also probably why the croc was going after him. He's like, yum, look at this guy. We'll talk with him just a little bit, so stick around for that. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio reporter, joins us now. He's going to help us make sense of everything that's happening right now with this whole Iran situation. Luke, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So
I'll try my best.
Where do you want to start here, Luke? Do you want to start with the deadline? Is that still still standing?
We can talk about that, absolutely. But, the escape and the rescue is something that's just incredible.
Escape and rescue.
Worth talking as well. But the deadline today, 5 p.m. our time, Pacific time, is what President Trump has given the world and given Iran to open up the Strait of Hormuz to let a fifth of the world's oil through to world markets, to the world market, or else he's going to start a bombing campaign that, in his words, will include
bridges, infrastructure,
and a civilization, if we're going to quote directly, right?
And a civilization.
Did you know if you look at Iranian national television right now, there's a countdown clock?
There is. Yeah.
I'm not kidding. There's a countdown clock to total obliteration.
I think there's one in Israel too.
And there are a lot of citizens in Iran now forming human lines and chains around power plants.
Yeah, at directive of the government.
Of the government. Yeah. So,
human shielding.
There's pressure of a different kind there because, you risk, seriously being beaten or dead.
Or dead. Yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, I was talking about this with somebody else earlier. It's a big moment. This deadline at 5 p.m. Brett Baer, actually, on Fox News, he said he had just previously, this is a couple hours old, so I don't know if this timeline has changed. I don't think it has, because I've seen videos of, bombers being, taking off and different things, but this is Brett Baer on Fox News. saying that he had just spoken with Trump and that deadline was still standing.
I just got off the phone with the president, and he called, and I said, listen, if you were to put odds on it, what were the odds that this is going to end up being a negotiated deal? He said he wasn't going to put odds on it, but he said 8 p.m. is happening. That's what he said. He said, it is, if we get to that point, there is going to be an attack like they have not seen. Now, he's sticking to that at this point. Now, he said if negotiations move forward today and there is something concrete, that could change. But at this hour, he didn't want to put odds on it, but he said it is moving forward with the plans that we have. That's a huge deal. And obviously, we all think that it's a thing that he's putting out there to say, don't do this. He says he doesn't want to do it, but he is, at this hour, sticking to it and saying it might be likely if they don't come to the table.
This is interesting. I've been, like probably many of us have now been reading more on Iran than I have in my entire life, just to prepare for talking about these things. I didn't realize that kind of what I have been seeing in these different places. There's a good website, Iran International, IranINTL.com, has these stories about basically this fractured leadership that's happening right now, where you have basically Iran is divided into two military forces. You have the IRGC, which is the what is that? That's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps.
You got it.
And then the Artesh, which is more like a traditional military.
That's right.
The IRGC guards the Ayatollah and kind of like pushes forward all the supreme leader stuff. And then the Artesh is the at the command of the president who runs the country. Then you have the supreme leader who's basically like a demigod in Iran. And you have these two different ideologies about how Iran should be run. And it's starting to kind of fracture, according to the story that I was seeing just a couple hours ago, where you have like, apparently, this is a report that came out, but you had this very stern conversation happening between the president and then a representative for the supreme leader, who again has not been, so Khomeini was killed in the initial attack, but his son, who succeeded him, if I know this, see this correctly, has not been seen since that time either. He's issued directives through straight TV and things like that, but he has not been seen. The reports are that he's unconscious in a hospital somewhere.
Yeah, I'd heard that he had been severely injured. Even I heard rumors that he had lost a limb.
Yeah.
In the attack. I hadn't heard.
I saw he was in a coma. That's just what I'm
certainly
seeing.
He'd be a target, if not by us. Certainly the Israeli.
They took out the upper echelon, then the week later took out the new upper echelon. So if you were this guy, why would you make any?
Yeah, I'd keep my head down for sure if I was him. But it's interesting with this deadline. Thinking about, I saw the videos of all the people standing around these different infrastructure pieces that they have said they're going to target, and we just don't. I mean, it's just wild to me to think about living in a country where, I don't know if they volunteered for that, if they're compelled for that, whatever. You're standing next to a nuclear reactor and you're waiting for this countdown clock. Now that's just a bizarre thing to even consider. We don't think about that in our daily life, about living in a world like that.
Well, I find it bizarre to live in a country that would threaten to do that, to be completely transparent with you.
Sure.
From what our administration is declaring and threatening.
You must find it equally strange to ask somebody to volunteer kids to go in front of a military facility.
It's nuts.
Yeah,
it's
the whole
an
thing is
crazy time in our history.
This whole thing has spiraled into crazy town. All the way around.
All the way around. It feels like crazy town.
It's just,
you're just trying to hold on. It's like as a person who just lives their daily life, you're just like, wait a minute, what's happening? And it's like,
how'd the M's do last night? Dang.
It feels like all the stuff is just coming in a million different directions. You're like, how much emotional input should I put into this? Like, how much should I be caring about this or that? And you're pulled in all these directions. We talk about this on the show a lot, but this one rises to a different level, I think, because it's more of an international news. But we have access to news all around the world all the time now because of the internet and phones and social media and all these things. I'm not God, and I cannot expend that much emotional energy. I'm just trying to keep up with my family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're you have thoughts and feelings. Like, how can you not feel for people in Iran who are going through this.
Innocent people, yeah, sure.
And it's just the whole thing is just a trip.
On one side, you hope the president is just posturing. Maybe there's a strategy. Certainly, there are negotiations going on behind the scenes, and you hope this is just a posturing because no one really wants to see. I hope
no, nobody wants to see anybody
people
killed.
Obliterated off the face of the earth with that rhetoric. But on the other side, this is a regime that has really done some heinous, horrible things to its own people, and they should not be in power. It's horrible.
That's where I'm wondering at this fracturing. I'm wondering if that is the from what I've read. And,
Could be.
Obviously, you guys are reading different things and may know more. I'm sure know more about this than I do, but the fracturing is the part where I'm wondering, is that light at the end of the tunnel? Because on the president's side of Iran, you have him making arguments in these stories saying hey, IRGC. Who's even running that right now? If the reports are true that the baby Ayatollah is now unconscious and in a hospital bed somewhere, who's the figurehead of that? And then on the other side, the president's like, you guys are really hurting our chances to negotiate the ceasefire because you guys keep acting out regionally and attacking other places. It's they're both pulling in different directions, and I can't help but think that as Trump is ramping things up with this deadline talk, that is just going to keep getting on the ground there. Just
could be part of the strategy as well.
Could be part of it. I don't know. I'm trying to make sense of it in a way
but it's hard to kick people out of power like the IRGC who
don't have 50 years now?
Yeah,
right?
and what are the alternatives? You don't want to lose that power because then other bad things happen to you. And they have they have swallowed the Kool-Aid. I mean, they are so to speak.
Which side?
Both sides,
right? I mean, seriously,
all sides. Well, all sides involved.
Clearly,
all sides believe in their policy and their strategy, of course. But they have adopted a doctrine that goes beyond just conventional warfare and what we think of armies about. This is religious. This is in the name of, and it's you don't just to drive a geopolitical policy like that is a measure beyond.
Yeah,
it really that's a layer deeper than what a lot of us know because we don't live there and we don't live in that society and maintain that society.
Can we get into, because you have also come with the story of the rescue, which is amazing, incredible. Can we talk about that for a minute, and then we're going to get back into some more of the stuff. At 1:00. Jason Rantz is going to join us at 1:00.
Real quick, just because you're going to hear me say this, so two aviation airmen, the pilot and the backseater. Backseater is the weapons system officer, the WSO, better known as the WISO. That's what they're called. I just think it's kind of cool to say that as well. So the WISO and the pilot ejected. You got to think about this. Why weren't a lot of people thinking? Why weren't they together? This is an F-15 that was flying hundreds of miles per hour. So what happens with the F-15 when you eject? The pilot goes first, and then seconds later, a split second later, then the WISO goes. So they aren't shot out at the same time.
They're not tethered together.
Right. So if you're traveling that fast, even a millisecond of a difference you're going to be separated.
Yeah.
So that's why they weren't together.
And then as you float down, you're also going to get caught in different winds.
Absolutely. So they were separated. The pilot rescued very quickly, but the WISO was the goose
character.
The goose was somewhere by the Zagros Mountains, which is a very massive and large and long mountain range. And these are mountains, folks. And I've got a video of this I actually put together using Google Maps and
I watched it.
Some other
it's
videos.
Great.
Yeah, it's on mynorthwest.com. These are mountains that are the same size and bigger than the Cascades in the Olympics. I mean, the largest peak, Mount Dena, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, 14,465 feet. Wow. So about 50 feet taller than Mount Rainier is the tallest peak there. The WISO, hiked, ran, climbed, got up to 7,000 feet, was turning off and on communications devices so the Iranians wouldn't pick it up. There was a bounty on the pilot's head and the WISO's head, and so nomadic tribal locals were also looking for him. The rescue though for this WISO involved 20 military aircraft, helicopters, A-10 Thunderbolts. Those are those planes with a big Gatling gun on the front. Goes no to tail. Yeah.
Yep. Call the Warthog.
Yeah.
My friend was a crew chief for a Warthog through the Air Force.
Amazing planes. They can take a beating. Drones.
Did you know the Warthog could fly? I remember them saying this at one point. It was so. It could turn in such
maneuver in such
tight radius. It could fly into. They never did this, obviously, because risk versus reward here. But it could fly into and make a full rotation inside the kingdom.
No kidding.
I believe
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's how quickly they can turn around.
And they take a beating. Like in the Iraq and Afghanistan
Total
wars,
workhorse.
you've seen those things just like losing almost, tails and
Just
wings and
limping
just
limping back, yeah. Yep.
And also C-130s, because I want to talk about the Hercules. The C-130 played a really important part here in the Hercules. The CIA was involved. They were telling Tehran at the time that they'd already rescued the Wizzo, so don't go looking for him. The U.S. military forces bombed Iranian military forces that were heading toward where the Wizzo was escaping. SEAL Team 6 was on the ground. Probably most likely the PJs, which is Air Force Special Forces, who are trained in rescuing pilots, I'm sure. So also, you're going to hear about this Boeing device called the Combat Survivor Evader Locator. It's a handheld device that both aviators were carrying. It sends encrypted communication, precise location tracking, multiple radio frequencies at the same time to improve survival. It communicates via satellite and other ways that we don't know about and we probably will never know about. Pretty incredible that was being used as well to track the exact pinpoint while they were looking. They have an idea. They knew where he was. They had an idea, and they needed to get to him. They were landing. Let's go to those C-130s for a second. They were landing those C-130s in a rural area, the U.S. military says, this abandoned airstrip that's above about 14 miles north is what I've read in different reports, above a town called Shahreza. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I looked around on Google Maps. I didn't find any kind of airfield like that. Very large, near a very large town of Isfahan, which is where the Iranians do have a military base. Why were they landing in the desert there with C-130 Hercules? Because they had helicopters inside. You can't get helicopters to that scene very quickly. Plus, they'd have to refuel. You can get that plane there, though, this workhorse in. They had helicopters in the back of that where they were going to pull out, and then now you have this rapid reaction force with helicopters to go get the pilots.
And this is where Trump, in his speech he gave yesterday, was talking about how they would assemble these things in like 10 minutes.
Put them together.
Yeah. Yep. Can you imagine and that just would the technology? I mean, like you watch F1, incredible. You watch pit crews, like they can change a tire real fast.
In 3 seconds, yeah.
You're building a helicopter real quick. Incredible. I mean, I know it's not the entire thing, but you're putting it together.
We're attaching the rotors to it.
Yeah. How bad is that?
It is. And these would be special forces, let's be clear.
Yes.
These are special forces that are doing this, and they're on the ground, including the pilots. These are very well trained. Those helicopter pilots would have been extremely well trained.
Think of like Zero Dark 30 stuff. Yeah. Remember Zero Dark 30? Those guys?
Exactly. So 2 of those C-130s apparently got bogged down. Maybe they're designed for short landings and short takeoffs. I saw a video, and this is part of the video you watched, of one landing on a sandy beach and then turning around and taking off. Right. I mean, they can land at a bunch of stuff, so they got bogged down to a point, I believe, that they couldn't take off.
That's the story, that they would then had to be destroyed as prior to, or rather than fall into enemy hands.
And especially, and this kind of really goes to why we should think that these were also part of special forces groups, because they would have technology on there that you do not want anyone to have. And so you just obliterate those things.
You remember in Zero Dark 30 when they're doing the mission to get bin Laden, there was an accident. One of those helicopters crashes. It's got all this secret information on it. They don't want it to fall in the enemy hands. And so they light the thing up. I mean, they blow it up. And just same thing here.
And in that movie, and in real life, actually, the tail of that helicopter, this top secret stealth helicopter that was hanging off the edge, that survived. And there were photos early on of that coming out of Pakistan. However, I learned from some sources that knew the Pakistani government collected it and turned it over back to the U.S. very, very quickly. Why? Because they were embarrassed about the whole thing, bin Laden being there. But that was technology But if you've seen photos or video of those C-130s, just completely destroyed.
I did see a picture, though, that was circulating online that they did find. I mean, basically everything about those C-130s is completely annihilated. I mean, it's like, it looks like the outline.
It's a charred remain.
It looks like the charred remain.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
But they did find a beef jerky stick that somehow had made, not a joke, like it had made it through.
Well, the jokes write themselves.
It was like a teriyaki beef jerky stick.
Indestructible beef jerky stick.
Yeah,
you bet. Must be good for you.
Love it.
Yeah, like an MRE, just like tear it open.
That Wizzo, though, escaping for days through the night.
I know.
Cold, high up in the mountains, and training kicked in, but you can't, you of course, terrified at the same time, and man, what an operation. What an operation.
Yeah,
it's funny, the varying stories that are coming out from varying sources, because Iran says that's a complete this is complete misinformation by the U.S. government, that they were trying to set up a forward base of
I tend not to
operation.
believe Iran.
I'm with you. No, but the deluge of information that's coming out. I've seen U.S. veterans are posting information about the Wizzo was a higher-ranking officer.
Colonel, I believe.
A colonel, which Trump acknowledged during his remarks yesterday. That's not somebody who usually flies second chair as a Wizzo.
No.
Someone of that rank, which leads you to the. There's something too. They were trying to set up a forward base of operations on this airstrip inside of Iran, because that's the groundwork for a groundwork, if you will. I mean, it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
We don't get to know, nor should we get to know everything.
Sure. You send me your Iran links. I want to read those.
Sure.
All right, we got a lot more coming up.
I premised it by saying Iran national television.
I'm joking.
I'm not buying it either.
I'm kidding with you.
But by the way, and a related story for Duke Lucy. Thank you so much.
That's a cool name, actually.
I know, right?
I've been called that before. I kind of like it.
I know your prediction markets. The Iran war is off of them, both of them. Polly Market and Kelshi, off of them. Thank goodness.
All right, we got a lot more coming up. Stick around.
Thanks for calling CM Heating.
Aren't you the company that gives away free furnaces?
That's us. Buy a qualifying high-efficiency cooling system and the furnace is free.
Wow.
Yeah, and our home comfort advisors are tax credit and rebate specialists, so they'll handle the rebate for you.
Go to CM Heating for better comfort, lower bills, and a free furnace you'll love for years. Get your free estimate for furnace replacement at cmheating.com. And remember, for furnaces, fireplaces, hot water, and total home comfort, including electrical,
there's no beating CM Heating.
Hey, Spike O'Neill 04. Thank you very much. Ageless living. You know, one of the hardest decisions you can make in your life is when it's time to put a loved one or your parent into a situation of assisted living, senior living. Here's what I wish someone had told me sooner. Ageless living. We're talking Best of Western Washington voted this year. And in a national survey of over 60,000 senior communities nationwide, Ageless living ranked number one senior living community in all of America in 2025. That's according to Seniorly. They're the folks who know. Schedule a tour today at ageliving.com/spike. There's no obligation. There's a free gift just for coming in. And when you've toured an ageless living facility, don't be surprised if you turn to whoever you're with and you say, this must be the place. Because it is. ageliving.com/spike.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You need a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. Switch today. Get started with a great offer as low as $60 a month. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Offer ends 6/1/26. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet and security edge. 1-year agreement, eco-bill, and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
You used to wake up ready to take on the world. Lately, not so much. The brain fog, the exhaustion, that feeling like you're just not you anymore. You're not imagining it, and you don't have to keep pushing through it. Hey, it's Manda Factor. At Juvacor Health and Wellness Center, hormone replacement therapy starts with something you won't find online, a real conversation, face-to-face, with a female provider who genuinely gets it. Led by Dr. Lucy Hostetter, a board-certified physician, her team has spent the last 7 years specializing in one thing, helping women feel like themselves again. It's what they do. Your care is driven by labs, by listening, and by a personalized treatment plan that's dialed into your body and your life. And they follow up, because this kind of care has to be personal. With convenient locations now in both Tacoma and Bellevue, Dr. Hostetter's practice has expanded from the flagship location, Seattle Regenerative Medicine Center in Bellevue, to Tacoma. You deserve a provider who makes the uncomfortable conversations comfortable. Reach out today. JuvaCoreHealth.com. Feel like yourself again.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY. We now have over 500 five-star online reviews. Bradley Johnson helped me out of a very difficult situation. Their professionalism and knowledge resulted in an outcome I wouldn't have thought possible. They were steady and reassuring, taking time to explain things clearly. They never rushed me, even when I had a million questions. In the end, they found a resolution I'm grateful for. They were a pleasure to work with. I was impressed with their knowledge and skill, ultimately winning my case. 10 out of 10. I would highly recommend. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or Google us to schedule your free private consultation. 5 stars means achieving your best possible outcome. 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Digging in my yard, trying to lay a pipe. I hit a water line and now I have to pay a big fine. I should have called 811.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. Still no reprieve in gas prices for Washington drivers, although Georgia's governor has enacted a temporary gas tax holiday. Oil distributor Jeff Small says taxes are the main culprit compared to Idaho.
Everybody in Washington's getting that same fuel from Spokane. Everybody in Idaho and the Panhandle is getting that same fuel. The solid difference is taxes.
KIRO 7 asked Governor Bob Ferguson about a gas tax reprieve back in March.
Well, have you given any consideration to a gas tax holiday?
Have I given any consideration to it? There's lots of things that are being considered.
The current average for King County is $5.68 a gallon. Researchers at the University of Washington say hypnosis could help reduce chronic pain, especially for patients with spinal cord injuries. In a new study, according to the Seattle Times, participants who practiced guided relaxation and therapeutic suggestion reported pain drops of nearly 20% after 6 weeks and more than 24% after 3 months. Researchers say the technique helps retrain the brain, which can stay on high alert even after an injury heals. Experts say the therapy also improved sleep and depression and could offer a safer alternative to opioids when used by trained medical professionals. A 36-year-old man is recovering after he was stabbed in the stomach early Monday morning in Everett. Police say it happened outside of North Everett Business sometime before 5 a.m. The man hopped on a bus at the Everett Transit Center trying to get to Harborview, but made it only as far as the Northgate station before security guards found him and rendered aid. SPD Detective Eric Munoz on why the man traveled to Seattle.
It could be a case where he was trying to get out of that area, or he was just more familiar with the Seattle area. Perhaps he was familiar with Harborview Medical Center.
The man was transported to Harborview in satisfactory condition. Snohomish County health officials say the measles outbreak, first reported January 15, is officially over. 14 cases were confirmed, with the last illness reported February 17. Officials waited 6 weeks with no new cases before declaring the outbreak over on April 4th. But they also warned more cases are likely as the summer travel season gets underway and the World Cup comes to Seattle. On Wall Street, the market is on edge as the deadline for Iran looms. The Dow down over 200 points, S&P 500 down 23, and the NASDAQ down 124 points. And now your KIRO News Radio traffic. North 5, stop and go from the West Seattle Bridge just past I-90. If you keep to the right, though, you should be able to bypass most of this, as the brunt of this backup are drivers stacked up in the left lane leading up to the express lanes. And then that Ship Canal Bridge starts near Lakeview Boulevard. 15 minutes to clear all this. South 5 is all clear, and through JBLM, North 5, an unusual hefty backup northbound I-5 at the main gate. Typically, we see this in the southbound direction. Now look at your weather. A drastic change from yesterday where we saw temps in the 70s, near 80 in some areas. This afternoon, partly sunny and 57 in Seattle. And tomorrow, more sunshine, 62, close to 70 again on Friday. 48 and overcast in downtown Seattle. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the show. We got the big story yesterday. Artemis 2 made their
orbit
around the moon.
Yep.
They are now the furthest that human beings have ever been from the planet. I saw a thing yesterday. It was really cool as they were heading around the dark side of the moon, and they were, farther out than any human being has ever been. They were saying, we are now seeing things that no human eye has ever seen. And when you think of it like that, just the bigness of that. I mean, we've seen, obviously we've seen pictures from satellites and things like that.
Yeah,
but no actual human eye has ever seen in person.
And if you aren't watching the YouTube channel right now, the Jake and Spike Show YouTube channel, you're missing out because we're sharing some of the photos that were captured by the crew of Artemis 2. And it's literally like things, no one's ever seen anything like this before.
Just unbelievable.
Beautiful. I heard a recount yesterday that the ship itself is operating at such perfection, not to knock word, not to tempt fate.
Sure.
But
except for the toilet.
That's okay.
One thing.
But the four-person crew was able to focus on observation without having to worry about this, that, and the other thing. Things were just moving so smoothly with the operation of the capsule itself.
Mm-hmm.
Their work on the observation portion of their mission, and they're taking turns looking at the moon directly with the human eye through the window while capturing these high-definition images for the first time in recorded history.
Yeah.
Because the human eye was able to give them color definitions that these high-tech super definition cameras can't give the color variations that the human. They were seeing greens, they were seeing browns
on the moon.
On the moon's surface, that gave them some insight into
thought of it as a gray.
Well, that's what we all thought.
Yeah,
and because it's always been photographs, but their ability to see the varying colors, and the human eye is infinitely more capable of defining color variations than these cameras.
Really?
I heard that from 2 different scientific sources yesterday in coverage of this mission. And their ability to say there's a green tint to this particular crater, they're able to give some insight into the chemical and the mineral compositions of the moon's surface.
I had not heard that.
Right?
That's fascinating.
And it's
amazing.
amazing.
Human eye?
Yes, exactly.
I can't see that good.
I'm it's funny, we've been talking about
can.
I know, right? We've been talking about the reignition of the
public interest
and the explorer spirit.
Yes.
Of this, and when I hear
Go
stuff
out there
like that,
and
I mean,
conquer the universe.
Seriously, it's just such a motivating and igniting feeling.
Look at this picture. They took this. This is a crescent Earth, or what is this?
Yeah, it's a crescent.
Like a crescent Earth.
An Earth rise.
Earth rise. They took a picture, much like you would see with the moon. It's just gorgeous, and I can't even believe that this is real. I mean, it looks like if you were to put something in AI, say like make the coolest looking lunar photo you've ever seen of Earth from a distance,
right,
and make it look so unbelievably cool that people would question whether or not it's real. AI would spit this out.
And this is so
looks
far, right,
so beautiful,
so far beyond what AI could put together.
I was last night. This is the fun part. It's the eyes of the next generation. Like speaking of good eyes, like kids who have good eyesight. But like I was last night, me and my boys. We're trying to find the moon, and we're looking up. We're thinking as we're looking up there into the stars. I wonder where Artemis is.
Right.
My 6-year-old thought he could see it, and he's got young eyes. I don't think he could. I think he was lying. He lies about a lot of stuff, but I couldn't see anything. But it was still like it was. I'm just joking. He doesn't lie.
No, it's cool.
But you know what I mean? Like
no,
it was cool.
He's got imagination.
They're
he thinks he
looking
does.
up and they're like, "Oh, is that it?
Is that it? Yeah."
And they're seriously going, "Oh, is that? Look at that little twinkly light." And you're watching, and they're watching the stars, and I'm watching them.
The wonder of it.
And it was so cool.
It's awesome.
And it wouldn't be happening if they did not go up and do this amazing thing. It's very, very cool. Here's another really cool thing. A local connection here. Is this like?
That is the
is that
total
an Earth eclipse?
Yes, exactly. One portion of their orbital trip around the moon, the Earth passed between the sun and their lunar craft.
Beautiful.
Giving that corona effect, the entire the light of the sun.
Yeah.
Around the blackness of the dark side of the moon there.
Well, that's the dark side of the Earth.
I mean, the Earth. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the moon. Looks
Is that
kind of
the moon?
cratery. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I can't see. It's dark. It's a big ball in the sky.
It's an incredible photograph.
Speaking of a cool photograph of the Earth, though, this is really neat. So I guess the Artemis 2 astronauts honored a local former astronaut. He's no longer with us. His name was William Anders. I didn't realize this, but on the Apollo 8 mission, he was part of a crew of the Apollo 8 mission with Frank Borman and Jim Lovell, who would go on to Apollo 13 fame, played by Tom Hanks in the movie. But Anders was a guy from Orcas Island.
Yeah.
And he took a very famous photo. Is this his picture?
No, that's from
another Artemis.
That's from Artemis.
Yeah. But he took
there
a really Oh, that's his photo. That's the first photo, and everybody has seen that photo. I've seen that in Apple ads and things like that about
infamous
things. That photo is the first color photograph of the Earth taken from space. And that was all the way back in, what was that, 1968? 68.
Yep.
Yeah. Unbelievable. But so they honored this guy while they're up there, which is very, very cool. And the whole thing, I just feel like they have really gotten it right PR-wise with this whole mission. The entire thing has been from start to finish. All the astronauts you're talking to, the way that they're addressing reporters, the answers that they have, the things that they're doing up in space. They're just smart about everything now. And it's been a while since we've been up in space in this capacity, like an exploratory mindset.
The space station has been up there for a better part of a decade and a half, I think.
I'll be honest.
It gets blasé,
There's
right?
nothing boring about space, they say, but I'm pretty bored of the space station.
Right, I understand.
Somebody says ISS, I go, no, thanks.
And because it's become almost mundane.
Yeah.
The comings and goings. When the only news that happened was when there was the technical Boeing craft that couldn't bring them back on time.
Sure. That was interesting.
That was interesting because the day-to-day space operations on the International Space Station have become second nature, and it's hard to get our attention. This type of an excursion.
This was just, it's because it's new. We like new and we like big and exciting and stuff. William Shatner congratulated them. He said, congratulations to the crew of Artemis 2 on going beyond where no human has gone before, which is very cool that William Shatner still
he remembers his lines.
So here's the thing. How are we going to get them back now? This is cool. Did you see how they have a amphibious ship? I mean, not all ships are amphibious, but the way that this one works is it opens up. So, they'll come back and they'll land, just like imagine the Apollo missions.
I was wondering, is it the same splashdown?
Splashdown.
Right? Heat shield shoots the whole bit. It floats till you get them?
Yep. And there's a ship called the USS John P. Murtha, and that will be the recovery ship that goes after the Artemis 2. And what that ship does, which is really cool, and they've been training to do this for a while, that ship has one of those big, it almost looks like you watch in any World War II movie, the landing vehicles on the beach in Normandy. Where the front opens up. This is one of those ships where it can be in the water and it has just a big open mouth, just like a fish, just goes
like a whale.
Like a whale. Yeah. And it just
it brings in the entire capsule?
Brings in the entire capsule.
That's cool.
It drains the water.
Yeah, because when the old way, the way we know from history and from videos, you got frogmen jumping in the water.
Hooking helicopters
you
up
got to bring them up in a basket. They come all the way back from the moon only to drop them out of the basket. It's all down to a guy hanging in a basket being pulled into a helicopter.
100%.
This is much safer.
This is a lot. This seems like they've definitely moved it up a little bit.
There it is. Picture there. Thank you,
there
Laura.
you go. Isn't that cool?
That is amazing.
If you guys are not seeing this on YouTube right now, it looks just like a big, giant...
It's like the front of a ferry boat,
It
right?
looks like an interior of a ferry boat that has one side that comes down that just sucks up water,
moves through the water, scoops it up like plankton.
Like plankton.
Right?
The ship runs on plankton. Did you know that? No. It's amazing. It eats it.
That's
like
the
a
future.
Whale.
Yeah, it's biofuel.
It is the future.
That's great.
Here's another cool thing, because we're going to run out of time here, but it's really cool. We were joking yesterday about that Nutella jar that floated by in space.
And the missed opportunity there.
We were saying, man, that's a marketing opportunity.
Right?
They quickly jumped on that.
Nutella did?
Do we have? Oh, no, we can't play this, actually.
Out of this world? They say it's out of this world.
They did. They said Nutella is out of this world.
Good for them.
And they just floats by and said, spreading Nutella to the next level or whatever.
That's great.
As you spread it. Anyway, lots of fun stuff. So they are now making their way back towards Earth at 25,000 miles an hour, and look forward to seeing them soon. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Stick around. Be right back.
Congratulations to KIRO News Radio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve on KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Hey, Jake Skorheim here. April showers bring May clogged and overflowing gutters, unfortunately. However, Valentine Roofing, they've got you covered. Right now, you can bundle and save 10% off your entire job when you add new gutters to any new roofing project. Plus, with flexible financing available and payments as low as $159 a month, Valentine makes it easy. Schedule your free roofing and gutter estimate today to bundle and save 10%. Just call 206 Roofing. That's 206 Roofing.
Spring is the perfect time to make improvements that protect and add value to your home. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For decades, homeowners across the Pacific Northwest have trusted our team for roofing, siding, windows, and custom decking. This spring, save up to $3,000, or qualified homeowners can take advantage of zero down, zero payments, and zero interest up to 24 months. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule your free estimate.
Gold demand is skyrocketing to record highs. As more Americans rush to preserve their savings, will there be enough gold? I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your 401k or IRA savings. Gold offers tangible security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. That's why I strongly advocate for gold IRAs. To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 now. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, and their thousands of great reviews prove I'm not alone. So don't wait another second. Protect your retirement savings today and see how easy it is to move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free gold IRA info kit. Again, SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
John is a national champion ping pong player.
My greatest claim to fame is an actor who portrayed the Chinese national champion that played Forrest Gump. I played him in a national tournament and I actually beat him.
Competing at that level takes precision and healthy shoulders, but after years of wear and tear, he was dealing with a serious shoulder injury.
I had a slap tear. Success rate for the surgery was only about 15%.
Instead of surgery, he chose to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy, the most experience in the Northwest with over 20,000 stem cell procedures.
The next day, I was pretty much 100%. I was pain-free. I had problems with my shoulder for 20 or 30 years.
And have you been able to compete again?
I won a national title 6 months after the procedure. My shoulder's like I'm an 18-year-old.
So whether it's a hip like I had, a shoulder, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com. That's drmarkwagnermd.com.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Seattle without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Seattle for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text INVEST to 64,000. Seattle is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop next week right here in Seattle and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text INVEST to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text INVEST to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text INVEST to 64,000.
I'm waiting for mortgage rates to come down. You know, I hear that every week, and even though rates are a little higher than I'd like, VA loan rates have come down low enough that some people are saving hundreds of dollars per month simply by consolidating their bills into one VA cash-out refinance. Hi, I'm Steve Teitler, owner of Best Mortgage, a local family-owned company, the VA loan experts for 34 years. We love helping our veterans save money. One of our VA clients saved more than $1,200 per month. We can also help you buy a home with no money down. The VA loan program is a fantastic deal that you have earned. Give us a call and we'll discuss your VA loan options with honest advice you can trust. And we do conventional loans too. Search the web for Best Mortgage or call 425-649-6000. You'll talk to a real person, never an AI robot. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
Everyday students stay after school for sports, clubs, and tutoring, many on empty stomachs. Safeway and Champions of Change offer grants for after-school meal programs. Schools must apply by April 8th at championsofchangefoundation.org and click Nourishing Champions.
I'm Carolyn Osorio, the host of the Shadow Girls podcast, a deep dive into the Green River Killer investigation and the only known survivor.
He got both hands on my neck. I couldn't do nothing.
Rebecca did do something. It was her tip that proved pivotal in the arrest and conviction of Gary Ridgway. Join us on April 9th for a true crime event, the behind-the-scenes story of how an imperfect witness finally got her reward. Tickets available right now at nwcave.org.
All right, welcome back to the show. Lots of stuff to talk about. Two things. One super relaxing, the other worst thing imaginable. The Masters happening.
Worst thing imaginable.
No. Come on.
There's the other one.
You golf? Do you like to golf?
I don't.
Okay.
I have golfed. I've enjoyed it every time, but I get frustrated because I have no consistency, thus I have no game.
That's the trick.
I mean, I understand it. I understand why.
It's consistency.
I don't have the time to dedicate to becoming good.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could have.
Even a moderately consistent bad golfer is a better golfer than somebody who's all up and down.
Oh, and I can hit the.
Because then you can plan on things.
I can hit the shot of the day.
Yeah.
And then 12 balls later, I'm off the first.
But that's what keeps you coming back. You have 17
for my balls.
Awful holes, and then you have one hit. You're like,
one
I'm
shot.
done.
That's a golf shot.
This is
Boom,
great.
Done. I could do this.
Yeah. The thing I like. Do we have this audio, Laura? The Masters audio. I don't know if we do here. Do we have that? Okay.
That's how you know. By the way, that's how you know it's spring.
These commercials,
the
they're the most relaxing things that I've ever seen in my life, and it's always just like the Masters, a tradition unlike any other. And they're the original ASMR. You know, like the sound thing. It's the buzzing of the birds and the bees. I don't think birds buzz, but you get my meaning.
Yeah, the whistling, the singing of the birds, buzzing of the bees.
You can almost hear the grass growing. It's so beautiful.
In the background, there's a sprinkler.
Yes, exactly. There's this really cool picture that I saw the other day, and I forget which hole it was, but there's one hole at Augusta, and it showed. I mean, there's more than one hole, but
there's like 18,
this specific
aren't there?
one. I think there's 18. I could be wrong. I think they have a full 18 now. They actually make them play 9 twice. Most people don't know that about Augusta.
They make all the people in the stands change clothes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Production.
But they it showed the progression of the groundskeeping since the 1950s or whenever they started, whenever it was. And they show this hole, which looks like it's nice, but it looks like it looks like a municipal course. It doesn't look anything special. And then they showed it today, and you would literally sell your house to have that one golf hole. I mean, it's just gorgeous. But it is the landscaping, it's the manicuring of everything.
Sure. It's a work of art. It's a living work of art.
How they can marshal nature into looking like that is, I mean, it helps when you have unlimited budget and resources and all these different things.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. Anyway, so that's happening. And then on the other side of things, we have this guy who we're going to talk with in just a little bit. This didn't happen at a golf course, but in my bridge between these two stories is I often see stories about golfers, especially in like southern areas like Florida, hitting golf balls near water hazards, and a big alligator pops out.
You bet. Yeah, part of the course.
Part of the course, and they'll tell you play in Florida. They go, "Hey, watch out for gators." Yep. You're like, "Come on!" They're like, "No."
Seriously. Your ball gets near a water hazard down here, you want to drop.
Yeah, you see the picture of that guy? He never came back.
Yep, Chubbs.
Yeah, exactly. Chubbs.
Right?
100%. Yes. And so this guy, he wasn't golfing in this case. He was scuba diving.
Right.
Which people also do on golf courses to collect golf balls.
Collect golf balls, that's right.
This guy was scuba diving. This is in Cozumel, Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds beautiful.
Cozumel, you bet.
Have you been there?
I haven't been to Cozumel, but I've seen pictures.
Seen pictures?
Beauty.
Yeah. It looks
Beauty.
nice. Looks very nice. He's enjoying a swim. And
Retiree, right?
Retiree, 72 years old. He's from Richland, so he's a local fella.
Yeah. Of what I read, he was a lifetime Hanford employee.
There you go.
Right?
And something swims up to him while he's underwater and tugs him and starts pulling him down. Listen to some of his description here, and then we're going to talk with this guy at 1:30, I believe. It's an amazing story. Listen to this.
I was 30 yards from shore, almost done with the swim, when something hit me from behind and kicked me from behind, which surprised me because I'd been checking for other swimmers and hadn't seen any. And as I turned around to see what was going on, 2 feet away from me was the face of a crocodile.
I'm not going to play anymore because I don't want to spoil his fight to survive. It's unbelievable.
But the fact that he's on the phone,
he's going to be
and
here.
joining us.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
It's not posthumously. He's going to be here.
That's what a crazy story.
Crazy story. And one of my worst nightmares, honestly, is being attacked by a crocodile.
Yeah.
Or alligator. Or shark.
Anything in the water, man. I have water phobias ever since Jaws.
Me too.
I have water phobias.
Yeah. He'll join us at 1:30. It's a fascinating story. You're definitely not going to want to miss that. All right, we got a lot more coming up. We'll talk a little bit more about Iran. Deadline approaching. I am seeing that there is reports of some movement in talks. So we'll see what happens there. Jason Rantz is going to join us next. Stick around.
Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis McChord.
KIRO News Radio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO News Radio app.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rirucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
Hi, Flo here to say that Progressive knows that life can change quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, like when I have to take my ex off my policy.
Oh, sorry. But yes, we can do that.
And can you send them a message and tell them that they have trust issues that they need to work on?
We don't really get in the middle of these conflicts.
Also, can you let him know that I was faking interest in his band and it's probably time to grow up?
I'm not going to do it. Just know that with Progressive, you can easily make changes to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Also, I'm staying in touch with his mom because she's absolutely lovely.
Bad idea.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You could file your taxes on a basic free service, which is fine. But are you okay with fine? Because when it's your money on the line, do you really want to guess if you missed a credit or hope the math is right? Get the confidence of TurboTax for free right on the Intuit Credit Karma app. Free Fed and free state for simple 1040s only. Around 37% of filers qualify. See details at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for EITC, CTC, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Perungo and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Families across Western Washington voted Aegis Living Best Senior Living Community, and Seniorly ranked them #1 in America. See why. Schedule a tour today at aegisliving.com/KIRO and get a special take-home gift. Aegis Living. This must be the place.
For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto Repair has been the one locals trust for fast, friendly service with guaranteed repairs. With 16 family-owned locations and a Carfax preferred badge, Bucky's makes it easy with same-day service and available financing. Visit Bucky's.com.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File today the easy way in the Credit Karma app.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump posted on Truth Social earlier today that a whole civilization will die tonight ahead of his deadline with Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz. CBS's Imtiaz Tayeb has more from Doha.
You have the president in his own post essentially saying that an entire civilization will die. And then you have the Iranians saying they have 14 million civilians prepared to die. It really just underscores just how serious this situation is, how high the rhetoric, how hot the rhetoric has become. There is some negotiations behind the scenes, all trying to see if they can find a path forward.
President Trump's deadline is 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Speaking in Budapest, Vice President J.D. Vance says,
we're going to find out, but there's going to be a lot of negotiation between now and then, and I'm hopeful that it gets to a good resolution.
The president's threat has prompted Democrats in Congress, some United Nations officials, and scholars in military law to say such strikes would violate international law. A development in the case of a kidnapped freelance American journalist overseas. The latest from CBS's Olivia Gazis.
American journalist Shelley Kittleson has been freed after being kidnapped in Iraq roughly a week ago by militants linked to the Iranian-backed militia Kataib Hezbollah. That's according to Iraqi officials and a source familiar with the situation who spoke with CBS News. The exact circumstances and terms of Kittleson's release, including whether any concessions were made, are still unclear. Multiple sources told CBS News Kittleson had been identified in advance, with her name appearing on a list of American journalists that the group had been tracking for potential abduction.
A source familiar with the matter tells CBS News that in New York tomorrow, Rex Heuermann is expected to plead guilty in the Gilgo Beach murder case. Voters in Georgia's 14th congressional district are deciding who will replace former GOP Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. On the Republican side, it is Clay Fuller, a district attorney and former lieutenant colonel in the Air National Guard, who is backed by President Trump. The Democrat is Sean Harris, a farmer and retired Army general. Victor Kinsey Stout on what she is looking for in a candidate.
Listen to the people of our community. It's a conservative community, but there are a lot of folks here who aren't. And I want somebody that's going to listen to all of us.
Officials in Maryland say they have arrested members of a criminal network responsible for moving and selling drugs across the eastern shore of Maryland and other states. Maryland Governor Wes Moore says of the investigation, which began in late 2024,
it resulted in arrests of violent criminals who, had they not been arrested, would have continued to terrorize our communities.
Stocks have closed mixed on Wall Street. Oil closed down. This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Another police department shuts down their flock cameras. More on that straight ahead. But first, a quick check on your KIRO News Radio traffic. Down in JBLM, northbound I-5, just past the main gate, we have a disabled military vehicle blocking that right lane, and that entire convoy is parked in that lane as well, so it's a big distraction. And you're backed up to Center Drive. That's a 3.5-mile backup. Olympia to Tacoma, you've got about a 10-minute delay, taking you 40 minutes. Here in Seattle, North 5, we're packed from the West Seattle Bridge just past I-90, and then that Ship Canal Bridge isn't bad. It starts near Lakeview Boulevard, close to 20 minutes to get through downtown. And the rest of our map looking great. This report brought to you by KIRO News Radio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Nate Connors. Renton police have temporarily shut off their automated license plate reader cameras to comply with a new state law regulating their use.
So it's not only with the flock cameras, but also has to do with our in-car cameras that also have the ability to do automatic license plate reading.
Police Chief John Schultz says the cameras could help solve crimes, but they're dark for now as the city works through privacy rules, but he wants them back as soon as possible. Drivers should expect delays on the Mukilteo Speedway over the next year. 2 sections of State Route 525 are being paved for the first time in over 2 decades.
We expect typically to have about a 15-year wear life for our paving projects. And so we're a little bit past that 15-year mark. Actually, we're several years past it.
WashDOT's Marcus Humberg says the section from I-5 to State Route 99 will be paved through the summer. The section from Harbor Point Boulevard to Mukilteo will begin later this year. A mistake along a bus line in Seattle leads to a 6-figure repair job. Here's KIRO News Radio's Frank Lindsay.
Crews removed steel plates and repaved short sections of the roadway along Madison Street. According to the Seattle Times, 19 months ago, problems were found with the Rapid Ride G-Line platforms, which were built too tall for buses to properly serve riders who use wheelchairs and walkers. The Seattle Department of Transportation says these repairs will cost about $650,000. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
A lawsuit has been filed over the massive 2023 fishing vessel fire at the Port of Tacoma. Trident Seafoods claims the Tacoma Fire Department mishandled the blaze aboard the Kodiak Enterprise, allowing it to spread and destroy the ship. The Tacoma News Tribune reports the company alleges firefighters ignored expert advice and used risky tactics that reignited the fire, leading to damages topping $100 million. The city has not yet responded in court. It says it does not comment on pending litigation. Now look at your KIRO News Radio weather. 57 and partly sunny today. Tonight drops to around 40. Wednesday brings back more sunshine and a high around 60. Near 70 by Friday. Partly sunny and 50 in downtown Seattle. I'm Nate Connors, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio. With your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the show. 1 hour down, 2 hours to go. A lot of stuff to get to. We are eagerly covering and anticipating and waiting and, trying to figure out what's going to happen with this Iran deadline that's for 5 p.m. We do have an update on that, which we'll get to in just a couple minutes here. Jason Rantz from Seattle Red 770 joins us now. Jason, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Jason, lots of stuff to talk about.
Indeed.
Let's start more locally here. With Governor Bob Ferguson, who is facing a recall. Did you see this? The Washington State Standard reported on this?
He shrugged it off.
He shrugged it off. You don't think it's going to happen?
No.
Is this
He's
just
not even facing a recall yet. He's
well,
facing the potential threat of a recall. You have a very high bar to get a recall greenlit by a judge. This, given some of the details that have been provided, essentially not filling.
Probably doesn't rise to that level.
Yeah,
there's a commission he hasn't filled 2 seats on of a 5-person commission.
And so there's 3 ways that you can recall in Washington State: misfeasance, malfeasance, or oath of office violation.
Okay.
And I
oath
think,
of office feasance.
Sure.
Oathfeasance.
Oathfeasance.
Yeah.
Maybe this counts as misfeasance, but they're going to have to collect almost a million signatures. It's one of those things where the guy who, God bless him, but he's apparently a prodigious filer of these kinds of complaints.
Sure.
It's just not going to go anywhere. So if there's someone who doesn't like Bob Ferguson out there saying, "Oh, finally," it's not going to happen. Sorry.
Yeah. It's not because of the income tax.
Well,
it's not right. It's no. I mean,
but that's
the public sentiment. Of course,
play towards people who want to see him out.
If you're able to somehow get this past the judge, that does come into play because you might
sentiment.
You're not going to sign this saying, "Oh, this is because of what he did with the income tax, it's going to get him recalled." Right. But it is a roundabout way of doing that.
That's the subtext, and everybody goes, "You know what? If he's not going to let me vote on whether have a say in the referendum process on whether or not to have an income tax." Maybe he doesn't get to keep his job. I think a lot of people would sign up for that.
And if I read it correctly, if they do get this past a judge and allow it to go forward as a recall, all he's got to do is fill those 2 seats on the 5-person commission, and it will be pulled off the table. Did I read that correctly?
Presumably.
Why hasn't he filled the seats? And what do you know what
he's been busy trying to come up with ways.
I've been trying to find ways to take your money.
Yeah, he's
Thank
busy.
you. Right there ahead of me.
Busy.
Good job. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, let's cast our net a little wider. Let's get on over to Iran.
What's happening there?
What's happening in Iran? There's this 5 p.m. deadline. Oh, have you seen this? I don't know if you've seen the news lately.
I've heard the topic sort of percolating, but hasn't
really risen to the level of news coverage yet. I haven't really seen it anywhere. That's a joke. Obviously, we've seen it everywhere. You have this 8 p.m. deadline. That's in Eastern time, 5 p.m. our time. We did call and ask them if they could move the deadline up so it happens during our show, whatever happens. But
I sent a note to Trump saying thank you because 5 p.m. That's our biggest hour.
That's why he got it.
Oh man,
that's why he got it.
I don't want to take away from your show, but I do wish that the deadline was bumped up a little bit, just so we could cover whatever.
Have you seen the latest news? KIRO's coming across one of the news channels says that the Prime Minister of Pakistan has asked the president to delay this deadline by 2 weeks
because the conversations behind the scenes are going so well. That's what the reporting has been, and it's not just Pakistan.
They're making progress on these talks. Okay.
Which
Shahbaz Sharif, that's his name.
Not to ruin this for anyone. While I anticipate you'll see some military strikes or continuation of them, as I said yesterday and last week. My assumption is part of the reason why you're seeing some of the rhetoric coming from the president escalating is because there's only 2 options. They're very, 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 very close, or they're so far gone
that he's trying to force the issue.
You need to force it. My guess is it's very, very close, and the reporting today suggests that. The closer we get to 5 p.m., the closer they're going to get to some sort of an agreement. And my guess is they're going to say we will have agreed in principle to whatever it is, and we've agreed to cease any kind of military action for the next couple weeks as we iron out the very specific details. But they've agreed to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, et cetera. That's my guess.
Is that the threshold of agreement that needs to be reached? Is the opening of the strait?
That is a
there's
key
been talks
piece,
of
but not the only.
ceasefires or surrenders. Complete capitulations. All these things have been put forth, but the strait is really what we're talking about because of the energy impact globally.
No, but yes. So I think this is obviously very important.
Sure.
You're not. So I'll say it this way: you're not going to get any kind of an agreement from the president unless the Strait of Hormuz is open.
Okay.
However, just reopening the Strait of Hormuz is not our.
That's not a deal breaker.
That's not our objectives here, right? And we've achieved our general military objectives. This is the one thing that's still on the list now that's new, that wasn't part of the objective that we went to war over. But the question is, are they going to agree to maintain what we've been able to achieve, which is to end their nuclear capabilities or their attempt to create nuclear weapons, their ballistic missile program? We've obviously severely damaged it. It's not completely gone, but we've severely damaged it. Yeah. Their military, as it once was, is a shell of what it was. They don't really have a navy anymore. You've got some IRGC speedboats out there that are a threat, but they're obviously not what they once were. They don't no longer have an air force. So, I mean, we've completely demolished that piece of it. It's just a question now of Strait of Hormuz, and can we maintain that level of objective success?
So that 10 years from now, they don't find themselves.
No, to be clear, 10 years from now, we're going to find ourselves back in the same spot unless we completely decimate every aspect of this regime. But the president from the beginning said this is not a regime change war.
It's not a practical goal.
Well, that's why. I think that's why they said that our goal is not regime change.
Well,
they would like regime change. We would all like regime change.
They've kind of said at some days they've said it is part of the thing, and then they said, well, the regime is completely changed. Except it's just different figureheads on the same regime.
Yes, but they never, and from the beginning, they never said that this was a regime change war. They've never said that. They've always maintained the opposite. Their talk about wanting a regime change is different. We all want a regime change.
That's been talk for 47 years.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, everyone wants a regime change.
Right.
The regime as it stands now is, again, not the same. It's the same infrastructure, but it's obviously not the same people because they're all dead. And the person in charge right now, we've seen a cardboard cutout of. We haven't seen him actually at all.
Do you think the reports are likely true about him being completely incapacitated?
I have no idea.
Is it odd that he hasn't been seen, or does it make kind of sense because he's like, hey, anybody else who sticks their head above ground?
No, it's odd in the context of you can create a video underground and not tell everyone where you are, and they're choosing not to do that.
I did see a video of him that was released, but it was quite clearly an AI video. It was like him walking into like a doomsday, like a nuclear bunker
type thing, yeah.
And it was quite, and you have to ask yourself, like, why would you release a quite clear AI video if you have the real thing when we can all tell that it's AI?
He could be severely injured, in a coma somewhere, or disfigured in some way. I've seen reporting on both. They might both be true, frankly, but it seems likely that he's not capacitated.
You know what's really interesting, too, to think about is I saw this post by Van Jones. This was yesterday, but I don't know if you saw this. But he was talking about how in Iran, the people in Iran don't have any access to outside information because there has been
very limited,
very limited. They have had an internet shut off for the last 40 days. So they've been basically, it's kind of like a North Korea situation where you have 90 million people in that country who may or may not fully understand or know, or obviously or only know what's being told to them, and not a free access of information like the rest of us enjoy every day. And just what it would be like to live in that kind of tyranny would be impossible.
And it goes both ways, too, because we don't have access to as a media, what's happening on the ground. And over the weekend, there was like one video that had been leaked and some stories that had been coming out suggesting that there were some Iranian communities or villages that were actually protecting the general area where our downed pilot was. And that tells you a lot about which side
where the people are
on. Yeah. I mean, keeping in mind that this is a regime that murdered some 30,000 Iranian people who dared to rise up, and we're starting to hear some of the reporting suggesting that protests are breaking out around the country. But we're still getting some information to the Iranian people. A lot of it is from Israel's strategy of literally sometimes dropping pamphlets to let people know what's happening. And I suppose, I'm guessing that's why you haven't seen the kind of uprising that you might expect after some sort of military action like this.
How much of that in the strategy with the whole deadline is baked into, is this kind of a nice lifeline for the Trump administration with this 2-week negotiation talk from Pakistan? It gives them more opportunity, Israel more opportunity to get information into the country.
Yes.
If it is slowly being dispersed because they're basically cut off from the outside world.
The reality, though, is, and the Trump administration knows this, and again, they telegraphed this from the beginning, don't take to the streets because we're in the middle of bombing strategic sites and we don't want you to get hurt. The other reality is that the IRGC, they still have weapons, and the average Iranian does not. They're very much outmanned and outpowered, and so we don't want to put them in a position where they're going to be immediately killed, especially because part of the long-term strategy for us is to have an angry, Iranian citizenry that wants to take back their country.
Sure. What can you tell me too? Like, who does Iran have left ally-wise? I was reading the story earlier about North Korea, who has been very close with them for many years. They trade things like technological. A lot of it's just military stuff, and they have not made any announcements of, they have not any message when Khamenei was killed. They have not congratulated his successor. They basically have been indicating that they're kind of trying to distance themselves.
They don't have traditional allies. They have shared interests with countries like Russia and China, which Russia right now in particular is fine to have the United States more focused on Iran because then we're less focused on Ukraine.
Right.
But
and
they're not
potential resources that could be sent to Ukraine are being
they're
used
not
in this.
direct allies in the traditional sense. I mean, Russia and China are not sending troops to Iran to fight on their behalf. They're not getting involved directly, but they will, again, especially Russia, will provide or try to provide technology and intel. But that's because they have a shared goal of weakening the United States, not necessarily because they have a goal of helping Iran.
What do you think that says, though, when a place like North Korea, who normally makes a habit of sending them things, is now saying, hey, we're going to totally stay out of this?
I mean, it shows you that they understand the power of the United States, and Iran is clearly weakened. And again, Russia's interest in this is due to their own vulnerabilities. I mean, Russia is not what Russia was a few years ago. They've been weakened militarily and economically significantly. China, the sort of undiscussed conversation here is, yes, oil is more expensive in the United States, no doubt. Globally, it's more expensive. We don't rely on oil coming from the Strait of Hormuz from an actual physical supply of oil and gasoline. That only impacts pricing for us because it's based on global demand and global supply. China, however, gets literal oil coming from the Strait of Hormuz. And that's why they're feeling a lot of pressure beyond what it is we're feeling. Their pressure is a little bit more significant. Ours is political and economic to a degree, but more political than economic versus China, which is more economic than political.
How much of this, too, do you think is, so we have this thing going in Iran. We just had all this stuff in Venezuela. These are the main places where China is getting their energy, right? Isn't that where isn't that who feeds China's thirst for oil? And how much of this is about...
and Venezuela, which Venezuela now was taken off the table.
Yes.
And that's where the bigger picture vulnerabilities for China comes into play. And that's also why, look, it's not just China. I mean, and it's not just oil. The globe does matter. Other interests matter than just China, but this clearly weakened them.
Interesting. What do you think of the? I saw this report earlier about these, basically the fracturing of the two ways that they run their government. They have the supreme leader, and then they also have the president. Did you see that story about how there was apparently over the weekend there was a big fight where they were basically saying the president's people were saying, hey, supreme leader people, because again, supreme leader hasn't been seen, so who knows who the figurehead there is. IRGC folks, you guys are making it very difficult to negotiate with the United States because you guys keep lashing out at people regionally. That's not good. It's not working for us. Is that the point of all of this? I know people are saying that the Trump administration, this is all chaos, but there must be some plan about dividing up. I think they would rather have the traditional military side of Iran stay in place and the supreme leader and like the fanatical side of things go away.
But the supreme leader and fanatical side is what's been running the show.
Yeah, I don't know if you can completely separate.
Fractioning a lesser being in the presidential and the standard military side of Iran.
If you look at the people that what I'm saying is, if you look at the people they've taken out, everybody on the supreme leader side keeps going away, and the military side less.
We've taken out some of the most extreme of the extremists, but it's still, the context is they're all still mostly extremists. Now, the president has said, and the administration has basically said, the people who are now stepping up into these leadership roles, while they're still cray-cray, as the kids might say, they're slightly less so, and they're more reasonable to negotiate with. Again, I don't know if they mean that in the long term. I think they mean that in the short term, because in the long term, you're not going. They still are anti-West. They still hate the U.S., the Great Satan, and
we're giving
Israel,
fuel to that perspective.
So, but I don't think we're giving fuel to that perspective. They already
blow up bridges and infrastructure.
It's hard not to.
So you're suggesting that they haven't hated us since the 70s?
Not at all. But we're not winning hearts and minds by blowing up
infrastructure. Whose hearts and minds are we not winning?
If you're a citizenry and you've got to, worry that you're going to have electricity, you're going to have clean, drinkable water.
They don't blame the United States for that.
For blowing up their
exactly. They do not blame the United States for this. They're on our side for the most part. Now, there's generational differences.
Sure, they're not crazy about. I don't mean to minimize it. They hate the regime. They hate the regime that is in charge. But putting their lives, their physical safety, and their well-being at risk by blowing stuff up.
It's at risk with the current regime.
The current regime is blowing up the desalinization. They're oppressive. I get it. But take away,
they just murder their own citizens and take away all rights. But I'm just saying the context in which they understand what's happening. And if you talk to people who are Iranian American or Iranians who have escaped, and they're still talking with some of their folks back in Iran, and they're almost all, not all, but almost all saying pretty much the same thing, which is there is an appreciation for what the United States is doing, and they understand what needs to be done in the grand scheme of things. Now, would they prefer us to not have to do that? Of course, right? We all acknowledge that, but they also know what needs to be done.
How does ending a civilization today at 5 o'clock? How's that?
We're not ending a civilization at 5 o'clock.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, because the president is using what I think everyone understands to be clear rhetoric that is intended to get the Iranian regime to figure out whether or not they're going to come to the table and truly negotiate here.
Do you really think the Iranians, they want him to do this? They want him to blow everything up. They want him to make us the bad guy.
To end civilization? Because then the regime wouldn't exist.
How does that rhetoric work if everybody knows he's full of crap?
Well, because I don't know if the Iranian regime believes that he's totally full of crap.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
But no, I think you're conflating two different things. Going after infrastructure that the military is using, it's a dual action theory, which has been international law forever. And no one talked about this during the Clinton administration, nor did they talk about this during the Obama administration, which did exactly the same thing. Yes, they did. They did it in Serbia. They did it against ISIS. They specifically went after oil fields. They went after electricity and plants. They clearly did the same thing. Now, you can argue that perhaps they're not going to do it to the degree.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
But we don't know the answer to that yet. You're presupposing something.
I'm taking the president at his word.
Over the weekend, there was one bridge.
Every bridge, every desalinization,
He's talking about it because he's talking about it in the context of military use,
that's
the reality.
That's gymnastics you're doing.
But it's not, because over the weekend, that's exactly what was happening. We went off for this one specific bridge, and what was the immediate reaction? War crime! It's a war. No, it's not a war crime.
No, when you threaten to take out every bridge, every infrastructure,
that's being used by the military. Yes,
that's not what he said. But that's not what he said. He said every electrical. Okay, that's
the only infrastructure that's been targeted so far, correct?
That's some interpretation on your part.
But is that the only infrastructure that has been up until this moment?
Yeah, but that's
targeted,
not. Right? But that's not what he's threatening to do.
But that's the context, I think, in which he's speaking. And again, this is because the president, Ben Shapiro had said this once, and I think is a perfect way to talk about Donald Trump. Never take him literally, but take him at his word. That's the difference. That's how he's always talked. That is not new at all. That's how he speaks.
That's not new for him.
You might not like it. You might not like it, and that's totally fair.
I know we got to go.
But that's the reality.
It's not new for him, but it's new for the American presidency.
Well, no, he's been president twice.
Some people like it. Some people like it.
And they're out of their minds. And they're embarrassing.
No, I don't think so.
I do.
That's the Strait of Hormuz opens back up, and we weakened Iran. Are we better off?
Sure, that'd be great.
There we go. Then I think that's how the American people will take it.
We all want the same thing. All right, we got a lot more coming up. Crocodile guy coming up next. Not the crocodile hunter, the crocodile hunted. Joins us. Stick around.
This hour is brought to you by Insulation Northwest.
Congratulations to KIRO News Radio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve on KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Hey, Jake Skorheim here. April showers bring May. Oh, who am I kidding? They just bring more rain, and they're going to get your gutters clogged and overflowing, which can damage your house from your roof to your foundation. Fortunately, my friends at Valentine Roofing, they're ready to come to your rescue. Right now, you can bundle and save 10% off your entire job, and you add new gutters to any new roofing project. Plus, Valentine offers gutter guards, which keep leaves and needles out for good, giving you an additional layer of defense against clogged and overflowing gutters. Having Valentine out at my house and seeing their professionalism and attention to detail, I'm not surprised. Valentine Roofing was awarded the 2025 Gold for Best Roofing Company and Silver for Best Gutter Company by the Seattle Times Best in the Pacific Northwest Awards. You deserve the best, so schedule your free roofing and gutter estimate today to bundle and save 10%. You call 206-ROOFING, that's 206-ROOFING, and remember, when you see the red Valentine van, you know your home is in good hands.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250. Say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Owie, wowie.
What's with the
water heater's worn out?
Way less hot water?
Takes a lot longer, too.
Sounds like a goner.
Worst of all,
what?
Wasn't planning on it.
We can help.
Apollo Plumbing.
Ready right now to get you
in hot water.
Same day.
Not this day. My budget.
How about with easy payments?
How much easy?
Around $50 a month with approved credit.
A new water heater?
50 gallons of 100% hot water delight.
For about $50 a month.
51, 52 to be precise.
And you can do it
today, if that's what you need.
Is it ever?
Apollo installs new ones with code upgrades.
Can't beat that.
Actually, I can.
What?
Your same-day water heater replacement includes Wrenchie's worry-free warranty.
Which means?
Apollo Plumbing covers your new water heater for life.
You mean should it ever wear out?
Apollo Plumbing replaces it free.
And if it needs service?
Service is included for our A-list members.
Wow!
Your new water heater is ready
right now
at apolloplumbing.com.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these 3 books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
You used to wake up ready to take on the world. Lately, not so much. The brain fog, the exhaustion, that feeling like you're just not you anymore. You're not imagining it, and you don't have to keep pushing through it. Hey, it's Manda Factor. At Juvacor Health and Wellness Center, hormone replacement therapy starts with something you won't find online. A real conversation, face-to-face, with a female provider who genuinely gets it. Led by Dr. Lucy Hostetter, a board-certified physician, her team has spent the last 7 years specializing in one thing, helping women feel like themselves again. It's what they do. Your care is driven by labs, by listening, and by a personalized treatment plan that's dialed into your body and your life. And they follow up, because this kind of care has to be personal. With convenient locations now in both Tacoma and Bellevue, Dr. Hostetter's practice has expanded from the flagship location, Seattle Regenerative Medicine Center in Bellevue, to Tacoma. You deserve a provider who makes the uncomfortable conversations comfortable. Reach out today. JuvaCoreHealth.com. Feel like yourself again.
How does your roof look after this winter? Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Spring into action today. Save $3,000 on a new roof, siding, deck, or windows. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. President Trump's deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz is fast approaching as he's now issuing a grave warning to the country's leaders. CBS's Natalie Brand reports.
In a new escalation of threats, Trump warned on social media that a whole civilization will die tonight, adding that he doesn't want that to happen, but it probably will. Vice President J.D. Vance, speaking from his trip to Hungary, said he hopes Iran makes the right decision and that there will be a lot of negotiation between now and the deadline.
That deadline set for 5 p.m. our time. Meantime, Pakistan is urging for more diplomatic talks. calling on President Trump to extend his deadline for another 2 weeks. White House says the president is reviewing that proposal and a response will come. To the closing bell reports, new numbers show downtown Seattle is still struggling to recover jobs. A report from the Downtown Seattle Association says while the number of people living in downtown has reached a record high, that has not translated into jobs. Scholes tells KIRO Radio's Gian Ursula he blames the Seattle's tax structure.
We are not attractive right now to employers that are growing and expanding within the region. They're picking the east side of the lake, not the west side of the lake.
That is Association CEO John Scholes. He points directly to the city's Jumpstart tax that targets large corporations. One positive from the latest downtown report, visitor traffic is back to pre-pandemic levels. Amazon now on the verge of making a new deal with the U.S. Postal Service. Multiple reports say Amazon will keep about 80% of its existing deliveries with the USPS. That's more than 1 billion packages a year. If approved, it would allow the struggling Postal Service to hang on to most of its business from its biggest customer. And on Wall Street, the market looks to be in wait-and-see mode over the war with Iran. Here's CBS's Jason Brooks.
The market got a late boost when Pakistan's prime minister requested President Trump to extend his deadline with Iran by 2 weeks, with the S&P 500 and NASDAQ turning positive before the closing bell. The Dow lost 85 points to 46,584, but the NASDAQ gained 21 to 22,017, and the S&P advanced higher by 5 points to 6616. Jason Brooks, CBS News.
Let's go down to the real-time traffic desk. Check in with Nate Connors.
All right, Aaron, and JBLM North 5 just past the main gate. We still have a disabled military vehicle blocking that right lane. The rest of the convoy is parked in that lane as well, so it's a bit of a distraction. You're backed up to Center Drive. That's a little over a 3-mile backup. Olympia to Tacoma is still hovering at 40 minutes, about a 10-minute delay. Now, west of Olympia, we've got some sort of blocking issue affecting both directions of 101 approaching Mud Bay Road, about a 1.5 mile backups in both directions. Here in Seattle, North 5, jam-packed between the West Seattle Bridge and I-90. Then you'll break free until you get just past Mercer, and then it's packed again across the Ship Canal Bridge. 20 minutes to get through downtown. And if you're heading toward Mercer Island right now, eastbound on I-90, just before West Mercer Way, a collision sits on the right shoulder, but they're right on that fog line, and drivers are jamming up at the scene just briefly. This report brought to you by your Seattle Mariners. Ichiro Replica Statue Night is Friday, April 10th. Don't miss out and get your tickets at mariners.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Morning clouds leading to partly cloudy skies this afternoon. Highs today in the upper 50s. Right now, 54 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the show. Man, this is going to be an interesting interview. I'm excited to get this guy on the show. Let's just get him right on. Eric Greger, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on and hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Eric, I'm pleased that you're able to still speak, given what recently happened to you. Tell our audience, what the heck happened down Mexico way?
Yeah, well, my wife Gail and I were headed to Cozumel for a scuba diving trip. And we got there a couple of weeks ago, this past Monday. Checked into the resort, the Occidental, and then checked into the dive shop because we were going to be diving the next day, and there was still some time before dinner, about 4:30. So I decided to go for a swim. Beautiful weather, beautiful water. So did that, went down and hopped in and swam down about 15 minutes to the next resort down, swam back, and so I was headed into shore. I was just about done with my 30-minute swim. I was literally about 30 yards away from shore, just a few seconds away from being done when I got hit and kicked in the back. And my first reaction was that another swimmer had hit and kicked me, which was odd because I'd been looking out for swimmers and never saw anybody. So when I turned around, it was the biggest surprise I've ever had. About 3 feet away from me was the head of a crocodile.
Oh, my gosh. This is my worst nightmare you're describing. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, it's I've had a few of those since then myself. Really people asked me what I thought, and I didn't think. I just reacted. So as soon as I turned around, he lunged at me, and I got both hands up to try to block him. That's how my right arm wound up in his mouth. He clamped down hard on the arm and started thrashing his head back and forth like a dog with a rag toy. So feeling the power of that animal, as it turned out, some people have taken a video later, and this guy was about a 10 or 12 foot crocodile.
Oh my gosh.
Richard,
I'm going to slow you down for 1 second there. Just a little. I'm sorry. You're a Richland man. Your name is Eric. I apologize, Eric. I was reading right here. It says Richland man. I got it in my head. Eric. So people have a little context. You're a very healthy 72-year-old man. Is that right? You're actually like a trainer. You're so healthy. And obviously, if you're doing a 30-minute swim in the ocean, then you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, were you were not scuba diving at the time? You were just swimming. Is that right?
Swimming on the surface, yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to go back to the moment the crocodile has your arm in his mouth. There's nobody else around you. I mean, is it really
clear, visible water, Eric?
Very, very clear, yeah.
So what is the depth of the water that you're in at this point?
I was probably in around 10 to 15 feet.
Okay, so there's no way you can use your legs for anything other than just like swimming power. You can't push off the bottom or anything. He can.
Right.
Okay.
You're right. Yeah.
So he gets your arm in his mouth. Do you recall? I imagine a lot of it is just survival instinct at that point. Maybe you're even, it may even be tough to remember. But like, I've heard that the power of a crocodile's bite is. It's very difficult to stop them from biting down. It's easier to stop them from opening their mouth, but to stop them from biting down, what did that feel like?
That was painful, and I think my oldest son researched it later, and there's something like 1,300 psi of force in a crocodile's jaw. So obviously, I wasn't. I'm not going to pry his jaw open. The only thing I could think of to do was. Hammer him in the head with my left hand and be kicking and screaming and trying to cause as much problem as I could. So then I realized later on, he went into a death roll thing that they do where he turned over on his back because I could see the lighter underbelly and started taking me down. And again, I'm just punching, kicking, screaming, whatever I can do to try to get out of it. And for whatever reason, he let me go.
Did you land Did you land any hits? I mean, did you feel like you hit any soft spot that he maybe
Well, I want to say I was aiming for his eyes, but I don't. I was just hitting him on the head. I got a nice gash on my left hand that was probably. Because their head's pretty hard, and so yeah. So
you've broken free from him at this point, and you put your hands out in front of you, and he bit your hand at that point too. Is that what I heard?
Well, no, I think my left hand got marked up because I was pounding on his head.
Okay.
We have at my house we have it's only about 9 or 10 inches long. A bearded dragon lizard. And let me tell you what, he's less than a foot, and that thing is vicious. It's got sharp nails, and he's got a meaty little mouth. He'll bite you. I cannot imagine a 12-foot crocodile. What on earth? Eric, how did you do this? Yeah. How did you get free? Like, and then you're free and you're bleeding, and then you swim back to shore. And what happens then?
Well, he, once he let me go and I made sure that he was gone so I could kind of get out of the defensive posture, I'm up at the surface by then, and luckily I was close to there's a rope buoy line to designate the swim area in front of the resort, so I used that rope to pull myself in to shore. Meanwhile, blood in the water looks a lot worse than it actually is, but there was sheets of blood coming out of my right arm. And so about halfway in, I started calling for help, and at least half a dozen people came out, grabbed me. By this time, the adrenaline had pretty much worn off. The shock had set in. The fatigue set in. And so they helped me hooked under my arms and helped carry me into the beach. And the lifeguard there had his lifeguard buoy with a rope on it. So he used that as a tourniquet on my upper arm. And that, at a minimum, probably saved my arm and more likely saved my life to stop that blood flow.
Eric, let me put you on. I want to put you on hold real fast. Can you hang with us for just a couple more minutes? I have a lot more questions, and I'd like to hear a little bit about the aftermath too. We got to take a quick commercial break, though. Is that cool?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're talking to Eric Greger, a Richland man, 72 years old. He survives a fight with a 12-foot crocodile in Mexico. I've told you, Spike, I don't like vacationing in Mexico. I tell my wife all the time, if it's not the gangs, it's the crocodiles. I don't like it. But we're on the other side of this break. We're gonna come back with Eric. What an amazing story of survival. We'll hear more about it. Stick around.
Congratulations to KIRO News Radio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve. On KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
You know, if you're like me, you're part of what they call the sandwich generation. Got kids on one side and aging parents on the other. The decision you make on assisted living can feel overwhelming. Here's what I wish someone had told me sooner. Aegis Living. We're talking about award-winning facilities, voted best of Western Washington, advanced memory care, all under one roof in King County, all across the county. Close to where you live right now. You can stay close to home. Go to ageliving.com/spike and schedule a visit today. Get a special take-home gift free of charge. There's no pressure, and when you visit an Aegis Living facility, you'll be saying this must be the place, because it is. ageliving.com/spike.
Home is more than a place to live. It's where the best of life unfolds, where possibility sparks, where community grows, where lives take shape. At the Master Builders Association of King and Snohomish Counties, that belief drives the work our builders, remodelers, and tradespeople do every day. Because when we build more homes, we're building so much more than housing. We're making room for what matters most. Learn more at roomforwhatmatters.com.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
Well, there's nothing I hate worse than being cold. And if your house is feeling a bit drafty or the floors of the main level are way too cold on your feet, that's probably because your crawl space and attic don't have enough insulation. It's probably making your furnace work overtime. So now you're spending more money as well. Well, how about a free and easy way to learn if you need better insulation? Just schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection of your crawl space and attic with Crawl Pros. It's exactly what I did. They'll show up to your house. They'll go where you don't want to, certainly where I didn't want to, and they'll tell you if you got any problems with your crawl space, your attic, and especially your insulation. If they do discover your home is under or improperly insulated, they'll show you all the utility rebates as well to help you get that work done correctly and affordably. If you're a PSE customer and your home was built before 1990, you could receive a rebate to cover up to 95% of the cost. Make your home more comfortable, save on your energy bill with Crawl Pros. If you're worried that anything's going on in your crawl space or attic, critters, mold, water, plumbing issues, Call Crawl Pros or go to crawlpros.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
My name is Skip, and Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland helped me with my Small Business Administration loan. With her help, I was able to keep my small business open, and she can help you too. Please contact Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland's office at 360-459-8514 or visit strickland.house.gov for help. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Hey, how's your money situation? Are you ready for retirement? Well, if you want to know what the pros are doing to make wealth multiply and retire like royalty, then you need to listen to this show, Sound Path Through Retirement, with Ben Koval and Matt Leibarger. Get your money right and tune in every weekend, Saturdays at 10 a.m. and noon on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious, with better nutrition too. It's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto Repair has been the one locals trust for fast, friendly service with guaranteed repairs. With 16 family-owned locations and a Carfax preferred badge, Bucky's makes it easy with same-day service and available financing. Visit buckys.com.
I'm Carolyn Osorio, the host of the Shadow Girls podcast, a deep dive into the Green River Killer investigation, and the only known survivor.
He got both hands on my neck. I couldn't do nothing.
Rebecca did do something. It was her tip that proved pivotal in the arrest and conviction of Gary Ridgway. Join us on April 9th for a true crime event, the behind-the-scenes story of how an imperfect witness finally got her reward. Tickets available right now at nwcave.org.
All right, welcome back to the show. We are talking with Eric Greger, who is local, Richland man. He was down in Mexico with his wife. They're on a scuba dive vacation. He goes into the water. He's swimming. This is before they go down scuba diving. He's just, he's in this beautiful place.
30-minute recreational swim before dinner.
Take a little swim. Go enjoy the water like any of us would. And he is attacked by a 12-foot crocodile. Bites his arm, drags him underwater, starts the crocodile death roll, tries to take him out. He fights back, somehow frees himself from this devil beast, and makes his way back up to the surface where now he's just surrounded in his own blood. Eric, have I laid the story out pretty closely to reality?
That's you say it more dramatically than I do, but yeah, that's pretty.
I'm just okay. So then you get to the hospital. They work on you. They save your arm.
Well, before that, you got a bunch of people on the beach who are applying first aid, multiple tourniquets.
Yeah.
30-minute ride to the hospital. I've done that in Mexico. That's no picnic in itself.
Are you worried, Eric? At that point, you're like Spike was just saying. I mean, and you mentioned this before the break. The adrenaline that would be flowing through your body. You have just fought off death. And you have survived, but now your body, all of those amazing things that we have in our body that help us fight that off, are now also pretty much like putting you to the point where you might be having a heart. I mean, like you could have easily have had a heart attack.
And you're in a Mexican hospital.
You're also headed to a hospital in Mexico. But like, what are you feeling in that moment? Are you feeling any of the pain, or at that moment is it all just kind of is your body protecting you from those feelings?
I wish that had been the case. No, between the beach and when they started surgery was the most pain I've ever experienced, and it was it took between being on the beach to when the surgery started with a 30-minute ambulance ride. It probably was about an hour and a half before they took me into surgery total. So I remember I was grabbing the doctor's arms, the nurse's arm, probably the cleaning lady's arm, asking to please save my arm. And one of the doctors, right before I went under for surgery, he said they were going to try. So they told my wife it would be a couple hours of surgery. It wound up being 6 hours.
Wow.
It turned out that the main artery was severed. That's where all the blood loss was happening. Virtually all the tendons in my arm were severed. But somehow, luckily, the two main nerves were exposed, but they remained intact, and no bones were broken.
Are you going to have use of your arm again?
Well, that they think so. Yeah. I mean, when I first went in before surgery, they did the oxygen meter on all my fingers, and it was down to like 60, which is bad.
Wow.
I didn't have any feeling in my finger. I couldn't wiggle them. But within a few hours after surgery, the oxygen level was back up in the upper 90s. I had feeling, I had color, everything. And I can't say enough what a great job the doctors and the hospital did down in Cozumel. I've had a couple doctors' visits here locally, an orthopedic guy and a vascular surgeon, and they've all been very impressed with the work that the doctors did down in that little tiny hospital in Cozumel. And the doctors down in Mexico and the doctors up here, nobody can say for sure, but they've made it a good chance that I'll get most of the function back in my right arm.
Wow. Eric, let me ask you real fast. We got about a minute left, but why do you think you survived this? Are you a praying man? Were you praying in that moment, or what happened? Why did you make it? That's entered my mind, and I don't really know. I mean, one moment you're finishing a nice, peaceful swim, and the next moment you're fighting for your life. And I guess I had enough fight this time to keep things going.
We're glad you did. We're glad you did. Will you scuba again in the future? And will you do it in Cozumel?
Absolutely. I don't know if we'll go to Cozumel or not. But,
I'd stay out of Cozumel if I were you.
This was Cozumel was the first of 4 dive trips we had scheduled for this year. We were going to go to Fiji in June, but I've had to postpone that one because
any crocs in Fiji?
What's that?
Any crocodiles in Fiji?
I'll find out.
Yeah,
jeez.
I'd be wearing croc boots and a croc belt and a croc wallet, man. Go for it.
Yeah.
So happy for you, bud. I'm so glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Eric, real life, he's not crocodile hunter, but he's like a fighter, crocodile fighter. Eric, thank you so much for making the time, and thanks for surviving all that. And we're so glad you're with us, man.
Best of luck, buddy.
Yeah. All right. We got a lot more coming up. Stick around.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
I had pain. I had numbness in my feet. That pain and that numbness just got worse and worse and worse as time went on.
This is Greg describing life with neuropathy.
I went to 5 podiatrists, tried different treatments, tried different orthotics, tried different shoes, had cortisone shots in the tops and the bottoms of my feet. Saw a neurologist. All my medical doctors said, can't help you. Live with the pain. You're not going to be able to sleep. This is your life. And then I just gave up until I found Sound Pain Solutions.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, drug and pain-free procedures that help neuropathy sufferers like Greg find relief.
I feel better. Just feeling better is huge.
If you experience numbness, shooting or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Thanks for calling CM Heating.
Aren't you the company that gives away free furnaces?
That's us. Buy a qualifying high-efficiency cooling system and the furnace is free.
Wow.
Yeah, and our home comfort advisors are tax credit and rebate specialists, so they'll handle the rebate for you.
Go to CM Heating for better comfort, lower bills, and a free furnace you'll love for years. Get your free estimate for furnace replacement at cmheating.com. And remember, for furnaces, fireplaces, hot water, and total home comfort, including electrical,
there's no beating CM Heating.
DUI? Felony charge? Trust Bradley Johnson Lawyers and 1-800-DUI-OA. Over 30 years serving the Pacific Northwest and hundreds of 5-star reviews. Every mistake has a solution at 1-800-DUI-OA.
1-800-DUI-OA. Take me out to big trees. Take me to see the leaves. Privacy screens and evergreens. You already know they have thousands of trees.
Big Trees for tree sales and transplants. Find Big Trees in Snohomish or BigTreeSupply.com.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Term supply available at OurRealSuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Seattle without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Seattle for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text INVEST to 64,000. Seattle is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop next week right here in Seattle and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text INVEST to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text INVEST to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text INVEST to 64,000.
Insulation rebates from PSC are at historic highs. American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $3 million in PSC insulation rebates last year, more than any contractor in Washington. Homeowners, business owners, and PSC trust American Crawl Space and Pest Services. Was your home built before 1990? Visit AmericanCrawl.com to see how much you can save on replacing your insulation.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump has received a proposal from Iran that could postpone any threatened action against Iran if it fails to agree to a peace deal tonight. CBS's Linda Kenyon reports from the White House.
The proposal conveyed by the Prime Minister of Pakistan states diplomatic efforts for peaceful settlement are, quote, progressing steadily, strongly, and powerfully, with the potential to lead to substantive results in the near future. To allow diplomacy to run its course, I urgently request President Trump to extend the deadline for 2 weeks. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt responded, the president has been made aware of the proposal and a response will come.
The Pope is criticizing President Trump's threats to civilian targets in Iran. CBS's Allison Keyes with more.
Without mentioning the United States, Pope Leo XIV is calling the threat against all the people of Iran unacceptable.
Reject war, especially a war which many people have said is an unjust war.
The pontiff adds that the war on Iran is
it's only provoking more hatred throughout the world.
Pope Leo is calling on citizens of all the nations involved to tell authorities to work for peace. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
A Georgia runoff election is underway to replace former GOP Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Republican District Attorney Clay Fuller is a former lieutenant colonel in the Air National Guard and has President Trump's support.
I really have heard positive things about President Trump's economic plan, and they just want to see it through.
Democrat Sean Harris is a farmer and retired Army general.
We'll be moving into a whole new thing of saying somebody's going to represent all the people here in Northwest Georgia.
Harris performed slightly better than Fuller in a special election on March 10th, but neither secured a majority of the vote, forcing today's runoff. Now that the Artemis II crew has completed the journey around the far side of the moon, they have 3 days until their arrival on Earth. CBS senior space consultant Bill Harwood.
They're going to brief the scientists later, talking about the observations they made. They're going to start packing up that capsule because if you've seen all the video of the crew inside, it's fairly cramped. And then for re-entry day, which is Friday, they're going to hit the atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour.
A source tells CBS News that in New York tomorrow, Rex Heuermann is expected to plead guilty in the Gilgo Beach murder case. Meantime, the son of one of the victims has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the accused serial killer and his family. John Ray is the attorney for the family of Valerie Mack.
We claim in the suit that Rex Heuermann tortured, slaughtered, murdered Valerie Mack. And there's a wrongful death suit for that.
The U.S. urges citizens to reconsider traveling to Saudi Arabia for the Hajj pilgrimage scheduled for later this month. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
Coming up, Washington's governor now facing a recall efforts. That's one story we get to after Nate Connors at the traffic desk.
And this one's brought to us by Global Credit Union. If you're heading over to Mercer Island, eastbound 90, just before West Mercer Way, our collision now has 2 right lanes blocked now that first responders have arrived. So we're bumper to bumper coming out of the Mount Baker Tunnel. Seattle to Bellevue has about a 5-minute delay right now, but obviously this is going to get worse. North 5 through Seattle, we are looking at our usual backups. They're jam-packed just before the West Seattle Bridge past I-90, and then again just past Mercer across the Ship Canal Bridge. We're up to 25 minutes now to get through downtown. South 5 is looking great. Up in Everett, we have a new crash. North 5 approaching Broadway. It's in the HOV lane, and you're backed up to 526. Down in JBLM, North 5, just past the main gate, we're dealing with this long-term disabled military vehicle in the right lane. The whole convoy is in that lane with them as well. So it's a big distraction, and you're backed up to Center Drive. Olympia to Tacoma is still taking about 35 to 40 minutes. And west of Olympia, it's road work on Highway 101 near Mud Bay Road that has both directions of Highway 101 in heavy traffic for about a mile. This is scheduled to wrap up around 3 o'clock. Global Credit Union, where members enjoy no-fee accounts and early payday with direct deposit. Learn more at globalcu.org. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. King County's rolling out new protocols to audit government spending. KIRO News Radio's John Repp has more on a plan from County Executive Gurmai Zahalai.
Initial reports found that grants increased 95% from the Department of Community and Health Services without even basic monitoring to ensure that money was properly spent. Speaking with G and Ursula, Zahalai called it unacceptable, but says change is taking place.
Right now, we have hired the internal audit director. We're doing the base budget analysis. We're implementing performance measures.
He says the increased oversight also includes ethics and fraud prevention training for anyone who oversees those contracts. John Repp, KIRO News Radio.
Recall bid is underway against Governor Bob Ferguson, fueled by concerns over election oversights. Washington State Standard reports Ferguson has failed to fill 2 vacant seats on the Public Disclosure Commission. That's the agency that enforces campaign finance laws. Recall petition accuses Ferguson of misfeasance. The governor's office says it is actively working to appoint new commissioners. Renton police have temporarily shut off automated license plate reader cameras. Police Chief John Schultz saying they need to comply with a new state law regulating their use.
So it's not only with the flock cameras, but also has to do with our in-car cameras that also have the ability to do automatic license plate reading.
Cameras are dark for now as the city works through privacy rules. A growing number of police departments and sheriff's offices have done the same. A mistake along a bus line in Seattle leads to a 6-figure repair job.
Crews removed steel plates and repaved short sections of the roadway along Madison Street. According to the Seattle Times, 19 months ago, problems were found with the Rapid Ride G-Line platforms, which were built too tall for buses to properly serve riders who use wheelchairs and walkers. The Seattle Department of Transportation says these repairs will cost about $650,000. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
Now to your forecast. Looking at partly cloudy skies this afternoon. Highs in the upper 50s, warming back up into the 60s for the rest of the week. Right now, 54 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
And now, it's time for the Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio with your hosts, Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
Welcome back to the show. 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. We're watching a lot of stuff. We have that deadline for negotiations with Iran, which is coming up in just a couple of hours here. It would be 5 p.m. local time. So we're watching that, where it is, that there's negotiations that are happening, and who knows what's going to happen in the next few hours. But we're keeping an eye on things. John Curley will have coverage on that as well during his show. I want to get to a story, though, that is, it's a lot closer to home. It's a story that is tragic and that I hate to even have to talk about. But if we don't highlight these things, then they go unnoticed and continue to happen. And so I do think it's very important that we talk about this. There was another case, and we have a guest here we're going to welcome on in just 1 second, but let me set the story up first. There has been another case of a child who was in the care of a woman who was being monitored by the DCYF, the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. And this child has now died. This was back in 24, but the mother has just been charged. The child was 11 months old, died of a fentanyl overdose, and the mother has just been charged with manslaughter. And the details of the story are obviously tragic, with an 11-month-old child dying. The circumstances in which the child was still with this mother are something that I'm really struggling to comprehend and to figure out why our state allows a child to be in this dangerous of a situation. And I want to welcome our guest right now, Travis Couture, Representative Travis Couture, who tried valiantly, but ultimately Democrats in our state voted this down, tried to amend the bill that allows for this situation to continue in our state. Travis, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
The Keeping Families Together Act, which was passed back in 2023, puts a very, very strong emphasis on keeping kids in homes, even where there's this extreme drug use, and not separating families, which nobody's going to argue that you want to see families separated, but there is a point at which you have to look at things and say, hey, this is clearly not a safe situation.
Well, the threshold for what was dangerous to a child was what the proposed legislation was trying to amend.
Yes.
Take a more realistic and modern look at, because threats to kids have become much more dangerous given fentanyl's intrusion into our culture.
And as you pointed out in your amendment that you were trying to get passed, and ultimately it didn't get passed, unfortunately, but that you were trying to get passed, they now have numbers. So, right, since 2023, a couple years ago, they now have numbers. There has been an increase in child-related incidents and deaths as a result of this passing. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in the last 2 years, we've had over 100 critical incidents. That's child fatalities and near fatalities. And just to put that into perspective, before the Keeping Families Together Act, we would maybe have like less than a handful in the entire state for a year. So the numbers are dramatic. They're huge. And, you know, if you want to do a state by state comparison, they had like 20 critical incidents in Oregon, you know, so it's a vast difference. You could direct it right back to the Keeping Families Together Act, because it's a bill, it's a system designed to escalate risk until the child is dead. And a lot of times these caseworkers, these social workers, who, by the way, didn't sign up for this job to get rich. They care about families. They care about kids. They want to be able to do their jobs, but they can't.
Yeah.
Their hands are tied by the law. But when you hear someone like the DCYF Secretary Tana Sen say, like she did in the news yesterday, that it's less traumatic to keep those kids in those situations where there's parents who are abusing hard drugs like fentanyl and meth, and could lead and is leading to their deaths. that it's less traumatic to keep them there. Well, what is actually more traumatic is when a social worker has to come not 10, 20, 30, but upwards of 70 times to these homes, endanger themselves because there's fentanyl everywhere, but also try to keep this kid alive. And a lot of them have, I've talked to a lot of these social workers, and in tears, they will say, like, I just know when I go back to that home, there's nothing I can do, and that child might be dead the next day. And that's a tragic situation to be in for them. But also, I will just note that if the child is dead, there is no chance at family reunification. There is no chance of keeping the family together if the child is dead. And
in this case,
I tried everything in this last session. Literally everything to fix this. And on my closest attempt, I failed by 3 votes out of 98. So I'm heartbroken because of it. I'll never give up, because a state that can't protect its kids has lost the moral authority to do everything else.
Yeah.
Travis, when these opposing politicians say that it's more traumatic to separate a family than to keep a child in a dangerous, what are they citing to validate that?
Yeah, there's something called an ACE, right? And think of it like a score. An ACE is like a traumatic experience, right? So in that child welfare world, they're looking at ACEs. Well, removing a child from their biological parents. And I will just say that if you could prevent putting a child into the system, so to speak, and if you can make sure that the biological family stays together, sometimes it's for the best, but only when it's safe to do so, right? And that is the critical measure in which is not being done right now. Right now, it's we're going to keep the family together at any cost, right? And the traumatic experience of removal from biological parents may be like one ACE. But every time a social worker has to visit and try to protect that child, that is another additional ACE. So we're trading 70 ACEs for one, is kind of how the math works out. And that doesn't make any sense to me.
Can I give the audience just a little background on this too? There's a couple parts of the story that just jumped out at me that I don't think, I certainly was unaware of how blatant. I just assumed, like, let's say somebody is suspected of, they have a DCYF case and they suspect that this person is using drugs. I assume that if the social worker sees these things, or if there's a urine test or something and somebody it's proven that they have drugs in their system, something like fentanyl, you would then say, okay, well, clearly that's not a safe environment for this kid, but that's not the case. And in this case, this woman who's been charged, whose name is Safara Ratoya Red, she's 33 years old. She initially tells, this is in the King County Superior Court charging documents, but she initially tells investigators that she was attacked by a man who forced a white substance that tasted like fentanyl into her mouth when she was at a light rail station. And she says she thinks her infant may have been exposed as well. Then they investigate that and they find that they're not believing that story's true, because they have video and they show that she's actually going towards a bus and she's, there's no evidence that this happened, as she says. She calls 911 at some point, and they try to give her, in this call about, I think my infant may have gotten some as well when I was trying to make him a bottle. The 911 operator then attempts to help her give CPR because the child is having issues. And according to the 911 tape, she's not even able to follow along with that because of whatever state she's in. And she's just kind of like in and out of, not consciousness, but in and out of the conversation, kind of apologizing, saying, I'm sorry. Police then arrive at her apartment. They find this child. This is dark and horrible, but they find the child that's already been deceased, cold, on the couch. And the arrest report says there's boxes of Narcan cartridges near the child's body, presumably ones that she got possibly when she gave birth to the child, because when she was at the hospital and the nurses alerted local officials, right, that she had been suspected of drug use, she then goes home. They give these lock boxes with Narcan and all this stuff you know these people are going to use, and still you're sending them back out with the most precious thing in the world, which is these kids. How can you expect somebody in the middle of a drug-induced state to also be a parent? I don't understand the reasoning there. It doesn't make any sense to me. And
you can't.
Help me make sense of it, because it's driving me crazy.
You can't, because, and I've said this before and I won't apologize for it, but the only thing someone who is in the throes of a deep fentanyl addiction cares about is getting the next hit. They love the drugs more than they love caring for their kids. And as harsh as that sounds, it is the truth. Look at the streets of Seattle and look at someone who has just smoked fentanyl and their flesh coming off of their skin and stooped over and overdosing and throwing up on themselves. If you can't even care, feed, bathe, nurture yourself, you can't do that for a child. Yeah. And the answer from the state of Washington is, we're going to provide services. Well, that's a funny term, services, but what exactly does services mean? Well, services mean we're going to give you a lockbox so that after you're done smoking your fentanyl, hopefully you remember to put the fentanyl, an illegal substance, back into the lockbox with all of the paraphernalia, the foils, the straws, the whatever else it may be.
To protect your kids.
That's ridiculous to me. No one, and that never works. Other things like safe sleep training. We're going to train you to not roll over on your baby and suffocate it while you're high on fentanyl. I mean, that stuff does not work. And that's exactly what happened in this case, too. They were receiving services, a lockbox, and safe sleep training. And look how that turned out. The child is dead. And we have dead babies, just scores and scores of dead babies because of this. And it's absolutely insane. It is nuts. It is not a left versus right issue. This is a right versus wrong issue. And that's why you had a lot of Democrats coming over to my side to support fixing it. But unfortunately, we just didn't have quite enough. We were short 3. And it might be traumatic to remove a child from their biological parents, but you know what's more traumatic? Being dead. Yeah. That's more traumatic than being removed.
When can we try again to make this change in the law? How soon again can this proposed change be put forth by you? And what more can we tell the legislators that are opposed to this? What's it going to take?
And Spike, that's the most heartbreaking, other than the child being dead, that's the second most heartbreaking part about all of this, is that you get a legislative session to fix it. And if you gavel out and the session is over, then you have to wait till next January when the next session begins to try to fix it again, barring some kind of special session, which the governor will never call for something like this. So now we get to sit here and watch with no ability to fix it and watch the child fatalities rack up till next January. And I'm running out of, ideas other than potentially having more balance in Olympia, because, I've had bipartisan bills. I even 8th ordered, which is a rare procedural motion, to rip dead bills from committee straight to the House floor for a vote. I took 2 Republican bills tackling the issue. And I even 8th ordered a Democrat bill, and a Representative Alicia Rule's bill, which would also have helped fix the situation, to the floor. And they unanimously, the Democrats, voted those things down. Insane. And even Alicia Rule voted no on her own bill. And a lot of these are bipartisan. All 3 were bipartisan bills. And then we tried on the budget, with the budget amendment, to implement my bill and get more funding for caseworkers to help tackle the crisis. And that's what failed by 3 votes. And so, I feel like I'm kind of circling the wagons a little bit to try to figure out, what do I got to do this interim to kind of sell this? But in my talks with Democrat leadership, they just don't even see the same thing that we see. They look at the data and they say, hey, it's getting better. But even if you believed their data, it would still be one of the worst in the country. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It's total confirmation bias. They built the law, so then they feel like the law is working despite all of the evidence saying to the contrary.
Is a legislative change the only way to change the threshold of what is a dangerous environment? That's the only possibility? There's no medical or procedural?
You have to change the law, Spike, because the law says imminent physical harm. I mean, unless the child is smoking fentanyl themselves, you almost can't remove them from the situation.
You know what's tragic about in this case specifically with this child? This is horrible, but one of the details was, so they went back and they did an after action fatality review, and they found that this kid had at 11 months old, because of prior exposure to fentanyl, had already, his sweet little body of an 11-month-old baby was already trying to struggle to figure out how to process the fentanyl that they were already being exposed to. It wasn't just this one instance. It was prior instances. And to think about, that kid has no chance. I mean, that kid has no chance. And you have family members who came forward and tried to get to CPS and say, CPS, she is not clean. She's not following the safety plan. Something bad is going to happen. And the caseworkers ended their case with this woman in June of 2024. 6 months later, the child was dead. I just don't understand. All these pieces are not adding up. And I don't know what else it's going to take other than just voting out these people who are, in my honest opinion, they're too big of cowards to do the right thing. Otherwise, they would do the right thing. And I think the only way is to just elect people who are willing. It's just a question. You ask every lawmaker who comes on the show, would you be willing to make changes to this? Because clearly it's leading to more child deaths. And if the answer is no, then that's a person that I just can't take seriously. And if it's a yes, then I don't care what side of the aisle they're on. If you're not willing to protect kids, what are you even doing there? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Exactly. Do you think it's okay for a 9-year-old to be in a tent with fentanyl and prostitution and rats and bottles of urine and not going to school every day and then being exposed to those hard drugs? I think most normal people would say, hell no, that's not okay. But yet you have a majority of legislators in Olympia who are saying, yes, it is. And that's nuts to me. I think that to be able to fix it, you got to fix that imminent physical harm standard, because imminent is a measure of time, and no one has a crystal ball to tell when a child is going to die. And it gets a little bit more complicated, but you got to be able to go into a dependency court and prove in court that this is a danger. And with that in the law, the judges won't do it. They have to follow the law. So that's why we need that law change. If it was as easy as I wish it were, which is go to DCYF and say, do a better job and start removing these kids.
Yeah, but their hands are tied too.
Doing it, right?
Well, yeah. I can't thank you enough for keeping your fire going for this issue. I imagine it must be frustrating and heartbreaking, but the fact that you are committed to not letting this go until laws are changed and kids are protected, I can't tell you how much we appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll never let it go. Thanks, guys.
All right, Travis Couture, thanks for making the time, man. We'll talk again.
All right, thanks. See ya.
All right, we got a lot more coming up. Stick around.
This hour is brought to you by Davis Law Group. Local news from local voices you trust.
Flights out of Joint Base Lewis McChord.
KIRO News Radio.
Questions about whether the Pentagon is deploying special forces to the Middle East.
The news you depend on.
Gas prices up 25 cents in the last week.
Conversation.
Then all of a sudden, Trump comes out, hey, we're having productive talks.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
Touchdown, Seahawks!
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM. Streaming everywhere on the KIRO Newsradio app. Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You didn't work hard to watch your retirement unravel. You saved, you sacrificed, you built something meaningful for yourself and for your family. Hi, I'm Elder Law Attorney Rajiv Nagaich. I've seen what happens when unexpected health events collide with traditional retirement plans. Savings that took decades to build drains away faster than anyone expected. At LifePoint Law, we help you build a life plan to help you protect your assets and way of life. If you are retired or thinking about retiring, now is the time to double-check your retirement plan.
Retirement doesn't have to feel like a gamble. With straightforward planning and clear answers, LifePoint Law replaces fear with clarity, but only if you start now. Attend the next seminar Tuesday, April 7th in Bremerton, the 9th in Olympia, or the 11th in Federal Way. Seats are limited. Sign up now at lifepointlaw.com. Visit lifepointlaw.com today.
Hey, what a surprise. We got tons of rain here in the Northwest in the late winter into the spring. It all adds up. Now's the time of the year when the ground becomes completely saturated with water, and that can cause real problems in your crawl space. It's Mike Salk here, and groundwater intrusion in crawl spaces, it's pretty common, but it's got to be addressed before it causes structural damage or even worse, toxic mold in your home. You don't want any part of that. That's why if you're worried about any groundwater in your crawl space, you call Crawl Pros and you get a free corner-to-corner inspection. They'll climb into that crawl space, see what the condition is. They will go where you don't want to, definitely where I didn't want to. They came to my house and handled all this stuff. If they find water, they'll install a groundwater drainage system and a sump pump and reroute that water outside your home's footprint where it belongs. Don't take the risk. Do what I did. Have Crawl Pros come out for that free corner-to-corner inspection. They'll even check your attic at the same time. If you're worried that anything is going on with your crawl space or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com.
There is one real estate agent who's been helping KIRO listeners longer than anyone else, and that's Wes Jones with sellwithwes.com. Wes, you've helped KIRO listeners in good markets and more difficult ones. What do you think has been the secret to your success?
Thanks, Brandy. Experience has taught us that to outperform the market, we needed to do things differently from the status quo, that we needed to do more. Our exclusive system covers innovative marketing locally and internationally, leading to more eyeballs on your home, better listing prep for better showings, negotiation strategies that eliminate pesky buyer contingencies, and generate stronger offers. Through our exclusive client programs, our sellers enjoy an extraordinary marketing experience utilizing techniques a traditional agent cannot offer.
So if you want to sell your home faster, at a higher price, and with fewer contingencies, if you want more, visit sellwithwes.com, sellwithwes.com, a better way to sell your home.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
Everyday students stay after school for sports, clubs, and tutoring, many on empty stomachs. Safeway and Champions of Change offer grants for after-school meal programs. Schools must apply by April 8th at championsofchangefoundation.org and click Nourishing Champions.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. President Trump's deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz is closing in, set for 5 p.m. our time. It comes as a new proposal is now on the table.
The proposal, conveyed by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, states diplomatic efforts for peaceful settlement are, quote, progressing steadily, strongly, and powerfully, with the potential to lead to substantive results in the near future. To allow diplomacy to run its course, I urgently request President Trump to extend the deadline for 2 weeks. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt responded, the president has been made aware of the proposal and a response will come. Earlier, Trump threatened Iran, saying, quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again." Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Artemis 2 and its crew heading back to Earth after their lunar flyby. CBS's Christian Benavides has the latest.
The astronauts shared their thoughts with the crew aboard the International Space Station.
I found myself noticing not only the beauty of the Earth, but how much blackness there was around it.
The Orion capsule is now headed back home, scheduled to splash down off the coast of San Diego Friday night.
New report from the Downtown Seattle Association shows visitor traffic in the city's urban core has bounced back to pre-pandemic levels. Association CEO John Scholes tells KIRO Radio's Gian Ursula.
Total visitors last summer was higher than what we saw in 2019. So you look from April to September, there's an incredible amount of activity in downtown Seattle.
But Scholes warns the city is losing the fight for jobs, saying downtown employment has declined for 4 straight years. He blames Seattle's tax structure, including the Jumpstart payroll tax that targets large employers. In Snohomish County, health officials say the measles outbreak, first reported January 15th, is now officially over. 14 cases were confirmed, the latest illness reported on February 17th. Officials say they waited 6 weeks with no new cases before declaring that outbreak has ended. Now to the real-time traffic desk at 2:33. Here's Nate Connors.
Thanks, Aaron. KIRO Newsradio App brings us this one. Up in Everett, we cleared our earlier collision, North 5 approaching Broadway, but it's on the left shoulder, and we've got traffic that really starts way back at 128th. Mercer Island, our collision eastbound 90 just before West Mercer Way, remains on the right shoulder, but fire crews have left the scene, so that opens up a couple lanes for you. Traffic still solid across the lake. Seattle to Bellevue, still have about a 5-minute delay. 25 minutes through downtown Seattle on northbound I-5. Your scattered backup start at the West Seattle Bridge. South 5, we're filling in from Mercer I-90. Nothing real heavy here. South 405, you're thick through Factoria. JBLM, North 5, just past the main gate. We're still dealing with this military convoy parked in your right lane as they tend to a disabled vehicle. You're backed up to Center Drive, Olympia to Tacoma, holding steady at 40 minutes. And west of Olympia, northbound 101 near Mud Bay Road, road work has in about a 1.5 mile backup. This is scheduled to wrap up here within the next half hour. Southbound 101 is cleared out. Text the app to 888-973-5476 and download the KIRO Newsradio app. Listen to your favorite shows and get the latest news and updates sent straight to your phone. KIRO Newsradio real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Nate, now to your forecast. Another nice afternoon. Not quite as warm as yesterday. We'll see highs today top out in the mid-50s. Right now, 54 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the show. A lot of stuff to get to. Cruising around on the internet, trying to bring you guys the latest news. I am seeing a bunch of different reports on different news sites that they're saying a deal between the U.S. and Iran could be finalized by tonight. A couple of different places showing that. ABC was just showing that. Another one I saw from CNN, apparently. But we will find out. That deadline, again, is 5 p.m. tonight, local time, 8 p.m. tonight, Eastern time. John Curley will have continuing coverage of all that stuff. Spike, can we talk about something a little bit with a little less risk involved?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be a
something
welcome
a little
relief.
lighter
Sure.
for the rest of us.
You bet.
I saw this interesting article. This was this was reprinted in Seattle Times, but I imagine this is probably, I think this was like an LA Times piece.
LA Times piece. You're talking about the movies.
Yes,
Yeah.
the LA Times piece.
Yeah.
And they were talking about, this is really interesting, they were talking about how 100 years ago, the movie industry was, and this is nuts to think about, they say 100 years ago in the 1930s. Isn't that crazy that that's 100 years ago?
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? 100 years ago in the 1930s, the economy was struggling after the Great Depression.
Okay.
People were not going to the movies in the same way. They did not have the disposable income, all these different things. This is pre-World War II.
You couldn't scrape together a nickel.
Tough to scrape together a nickel. Yeah.
Quite literally.
And so the movie houses were like, all right, well, how do we get people in seats? What do we do? And so at the time, this seems insane to us now because it's the only reason anybody goes to movies anymore. But back in the 1920s and early 30s, you were not allowed to eat food in a movie theater because the movie theater experience, they wanted to keep their carpets as nice as they possibly could. The upholstery on the seats, they didn't want ruined by buttery fingers.
Okay.
And so they said no food. And then somebody was like, you know what? people are not coming to see our movies, they're too expensive, even if we lower the prices. What if we gave them an extra incentive to come to the movies, which was popcorn? So popcorn ended up being this huge new phenomenon that people got really excited about. U.S. corn production was way up at the time, and they were coming up with new ways to enjoy it as a snack after World War I. And so they started offering popcorn in the movie theaters. And everybody was like, hey, you know what's really great with a movie? Popcorn. And so people started buying popcorn. And so they credit that, according to this LA Times piece, they credit that with saving the movie industry back in the 1920s and 30s.
Okay, no kidding.
Yes, and now the question is being asked because the movie industry is now going through a whole nother type of I wouldn't call it a renaissance.
No,
it's going through another massive
struggle. Yeah.
Change because of technology advances.
De-evolution, maybe? Evolution? De-evolution?
I think the viewing evolution of what you can do at home versus what you can do in a movie.
That's a challenge that there's never presented to this industry before, I hadn't faced before.
Yes.
Never.
It's phenomenal to watch a movie at home.
Yeah.
It's great. You have streamers, which we didn't have 15 years ago.
You have TVs now that look like movie screens.
100%.
In a lot of homes.
Yes. Same day. You can go and watch something on Netflix or Apple TV or whatever it is. Same day in your house. You don't even have to wear pants, and nobody's going to shake a stick at you.
Now there's a theater incentive I could get behind.
There you go.
Pajamas.
But
I kid, but they've tried those, beds almost.
Yeah.
In theaters.
They do have those.
I mean, the kind of not just a leather reclining chair. I've sat in those before. It's a pretty enjoyable experience to watch a movie where you can just full on recline.
You're talking about the cocoon experience.
Yes, of a bed.
That theater, we were just talking about this maybe 2 weeks ago, the Redmond Theater. I forget the name of it, but it's going bankrupt. And it's like a 2-person viewing cocoon where you get into these you're surrounded, so people can't really see what's...
Right.
It's privacy.
As a father of teenagers, trust me when I tell you, that's the last place my kids going.
We don't like cocoons. Yes.
I mean, I went to the movie theater as a kid on dates because it was dark.
Sure.
And you could hold hands,
little
hand holding, God forbid.
A little kiss on
little shoulder,
cheek.
Shoulder squeeze,
Maybe a little more if you're adventurous.
Yeah, sure. Depending upon, who
a little kiss.
Sure.
But yeah, like a cocoon.
A cocoon?
It's too much. It's too much. And it didn't work. It didn't get people in the seats. A new thing that they're doing, I don't know if you've seen this, I think you probably have, is they have collectible popcorn. They're thinking the question that LA Times was asking was, can popcorn save movies again? And they have these collectible popcorn containers now.
I've seen them.
They're expensive. Imagine, if you don't know what these are, imagine like you just went to the Mariners and you got a souvenir.
I got the ferry boat.
There you go.
Yes. I wouldn't have bought food. And to be honest with you, I went to the game because the missus wanted a boat.
You wanted the souvenir boat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you buy one of these containers? They highlight one in LA Times in this new Mario movie, Super Mario Galaxy. You can buy a Yoshi, like a special edition Yoshi-shaped popcorn container. It's like $45. I'm sorry, no. It's a star-shaped bucket.
Star-shaped
Yoshi's
bucket.
in the movie, but it's a star-shaped bucket. $45.
I mean, if I'm a super fan, I might see that happen. If I'm a collector of memorabilia of different, I saw one piece was like is that a Wolverine?
It's a Wolverine
themed bucket cover for your Wolverine Deadpool movie premiere release, whatever. If I'm a collector, maybe, but I'm going anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going. If I'm already going to see this movie in a theater, I got to see this movie in a theater. You're taking your boys to this Mario movie, right?
Yeah, we're going today after the show. We're going to go. I'm going to rush home. We're going to go see the movie.
Do you blindfold them? Well, it's expensive just to get in these days.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons that the theaters are struggling. It's not just that you can watch it at home.
It's the prices, man.
It's $100 to take 4 people to a movie anymore.
It's insane. I got little kids who are getting kid prices. 3 of my tickets that I purchased for today are kid prices. And it was still $70-something bucks.
For 4 of you to go
For 4 of us to go see
that's probably
afternoon
$80,
movie.
$100 to go as 4 adults.
If we easily.
Right?
And if we get food, if we even look at food, it's $125.
Are you going to blindfold them past the concession stand? How do you get them to ignore the Yoshi whatever star bucket of corn?
I'll tell you what I do. I buy some Skittles at the gas station down the street, and I shove them in my pocket.
That's the other thing. I'm a thief. You riding dirty?
because I'm breaking the law. I'm not a thief. I paid for them, but like I'm not supposed to bring those in. But what are you going to do?
We do it too.
I'm going to pay $20 for jujubes or whatever people are eating these days.
I hear you. I mean, if you want to get people back in the theater, I know concessions is where they make the bulk of their income. It's that you can't have bulk cut rate concessions to help the moviegoer out because the theater's already getting by on a wing and a prayer.
Why can't they do? And you're totally right. It's very expensive for them. It's an industry that's hurting hugely. But you look at like the fast food wars, and they made value meals cheaper. People could go in. You can get more and more from each place.
Right.
Now those movies. Why can't they just make movies a little more fun? Like they do have. Okay, so they do have things that they do. They do have things that you got matinee prices.
Yeah.
If you want to go in, you can get like one of the things that we do sometimes. They have like little kid concession packs.
Sure.
And you'll be like
Kids
you get like
kinda...
a little sprinkle of popcorn.
Yeah.
You get a sody pop, and you get a tiny
pop.
little like fun
Micro
size
candy. Yeah.
And it's only $13.
That's why you wear pockets, buddy.
Isn't that insane?
What do they expect us to do?
What do you expect us to do? That's why people watch the movies at home.
Ball games, they have bargain nights.
Yeah.
They have $5 hot
bargain
dogs.
dog.
Bargain dog, bargain beer. And I know theaters are trying to do that too. It's a delicate balancing act, and
it's crazy.
It's just the modern reality. It's $100 to go to the theater anymore. Unless you want to go by yourself.
Yeah.
You and a friend.
And then
if you're lucky.
Just go see it by yourself at home. Just watch it at home. It's kind of crazy.
But I don't think a $45 bucket of popcorn with a souvenir lid is going to make. It's not going to save the movie industry.
I don't even. It might do the opposite. It might chase people away. Just go. It's too expensive.
I wouldn't take my kid to a theater if I got to argue about a $45 bucket of popcorn.
That's the other thing.
Right?
Then you got to fight your kid off. And
Yeah,
now
you
you're a
got-
bad parent. You
right?
just paid $100 for tickets, and now you got to be a bad parent because you don't want to spend $45 on a bucket of popcorn that
making it
lights
harder.
up that they're going to throw away. They lose interest in it by the end of the movie.
Sure.
And they're throwing it away.
It's the
Maybe I should
definition
just
of
give them cash. That's what I should do. I should just distract them. I'll hold up a $5 bill for each of them.
of
Be like,
you.
you can get candy or you can have this.
There you go. See, little entrepreneurs. Look at you. Look at you.
Genius.
Smart.
Genius. All right, we got a lot more coming up. We got your text messages and stuff next. Stick around.
Congratulations to KIRO News Radio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve on KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
How was your break? It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code THRIVE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code THRIVE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill up. That's THRIVE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
If you've saved more than $300,000, there's one thing you can do now that could make your savings go twice as far in retirement, and it's tax planning. That's right. Tax planning could significantly reduce the taxes on your IRA and 401k withdrawals, Social Security benefits, and other investment income. Charlie Harger here. Find out how much money you could save with a free retirement tax savings analysis from the good people at Boss Retirement Solutions. To schedule your free analysis, call 206-210-1350. Tax planning for retirement could reduce your taxes not just for 1 year, but for the rest of your life. And the savings could be six figures. Let's find out how much money you could save. Call 206-210-1350. 206-210-1350.
For informational purposes only, actual results may vary. No statement contained herein shall constitute tax, legal, or investment advice.
Step inside and let the excitement take you places. This is Muckleshoot Casino Resort, the ultimate spot for action that reaches incredible heights, luxury that knows no bounds, and live entertainment that always thrills. It's all at one incredible destination. So when you look for the best, look nowhere else. Muckleshoot Casino Resort, the biggest and best in the Northwest. Muckleshoot.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign, and so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions. 855-996-0025 or click soundpainsolutions.com.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
Thanks for calling CM Heating.
Aren't you the company that gives away free furnaces?
That's us. Buy a qualifying high-efficiency cooling system and the furnace is free.
Wow.
Yeah, and our home comfort advisors are tax credit and rebate specialists, so they'll handle the rebate for you.
Go to CM Heating for better comfort, lower bills, and a free furnace you'll love for years. Get your free estimate for furnace replacement at cmheating.com. And remember, for furnaces, fireplaces, hot water, and total home comfort, including electrical, there's no beating CM Heating.
File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. TurboTax helps you get your biggest refund, and then Credit Karma helps you do more with it. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Don't wait. Insulate. Last year, American Crawl Space and Pest Services gave over $2 million in insulation rebates from PSE, more than any provider in the state. If your home was built before 1990, you're eligible for recouping up to 95% of insulation replacement costs. Insulate with American Crawl Space and keep your home warm during the winter and cool during the summer.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Welcome back to the show. A lot of text messages to get to. We're going to start right off with the most important topic of the day. What was that thing in Green Lake that we were talking about related to duck poop? Laura, go for it.
206 says swimmer's itch.
Swimmer's itch.
Swimmer's itch.
Yeah. I kept calling it duck itch, which you're right. If you say it too fast, it's just not going to be very flattering. I couldn't find it, but whatever.
Yeah, swimmer's itch.
Swimmer's itch. And you get it from duck poop.
On our live video stream today, Paul in the 253 says, "Why is Jake wearing the Marty McFly vest? Is it a Back to the Future anniversary that I don't know about?"
What are you, a sailor? Are you? It is not, although it is from the 80s. I got a bunch of my grandpa's clothes after he passed away. This is my grandpa's, one of my grandpa's vests. Aww. Yeah, so I like it quite a bit.
I don't blame you.
But thank you, Paul, for mentioning it. I do like, and I love Back to the Future. So all compliments. Thank you.
On the Masters, Debbie from Seattle says, the hole in question is Amen Corner. I had the good fortune to attend the Masters in 2003, and the way they get all those beautiful flowers is fertilizer.
Nice.
I was not expecting that beautiful place to smell the way it did. Fortunately, after an hour or so, you go nose blind.
That's it. Very interesting. The nice thing is that smell, until sometime in the future, it does not come across on TV.
No.
They don't have smell-o-vision yet.
No.
It's a very lovely look, but you don't have to smell it.
Those flowers are azaleas, right? I believe at Augusta.
Sure.
I think they're azaleas.
That sounds right, yeah.
On the Trump deadline before the ending civilization war in Iran talk we had earlier, Mike and the 206 is kind of disturbing that you guys are laughing and kidding about this. This is going to be serious, and a lot of people are going to potentially die. It's not funny. Well, Mike, I appreciate your take on this. We, of course, respect the severity of this situation.
Obviously, Mike,
reverence
we
of the
respect
situation.
everybody's life, and we're hoping that it doesn't lead to any of that.
And you know, if you're me, I laugh. You know, it's a self-defense mechanism. We try to make jokes and light of things to help kind of relieve some of the stress of the situation.
Sure.
But we do get the gravity of the moment, Mike.
We also said many times, Mike, that we hope that nobody ends up perishing. So, I hope you will give us some grace. And thank you very much. Jordan and Bonnie Lake says, I would like a U.S. regime change. That's Jordan and Bonnie Lake.
Okay. Good.
James in Issaquah says the same people that think Governor Bob Ferguson should be recalled would never think that Trump deserves to be recalled. Scary.
Ooh, we have only far lefty people listening to the show today? Let's get to some sane text messages. Good golly. Find some of these. Do we have any sane ones on this topic?
On this topic, we don't have any.
You didn't find any of those?
Truly no.
Okay, well.
You know me. I like to mix it up and have both sides.
On keeping kids with drug-addicted parents, Christine Organ says, can we hold the Democrats who created the Keeping Families Together Act responsible for these kids' deaths? I think that's going to be hard to do in a court of law.
No, I hear you, man.
I wish though that there was such a, even civilly, just to say, hey, if you guys are voting for this.
It is infuriating and heartbreaking and confounding that these folks who are making laws in Olympia can't see the danger that these kids are in.
They seem very detached from reality.
Just Scott in the 360 says, Spike, the fix is to elect someone else that will vote for it. Punish the list of those. Punish and publish. Publish the list of those that voted no on this bill. That's the only hard way to find. They got a D behind their name.
That's the only way. Just changing out the people who are in office right now. All right, let's see here, on the local who survived the croc attack. If you guys missed our 1:30 interview, fantastic. Eric Geiger, is that his last name? Greiger.
Greiger.
Okay.
Local guy in Mexico, swimming, attacked by a crocodile, 12 feet long, fights him off, almost loses his arm and his life. Just an unbelievable survival story, but he came on and told us all about it. Doug in Mount Vernon says no crocodile rock for intro music.
Come on.
We don't want to make a joke out of it, dog. No, just kidding. That's totally fine.
I got to tell you, though, man, he's 72. He trains people. He's a marathoner. If I'm in the water and a croc comes, I'm a snossage. I ain't got a prayer.
You just say, hey, make it fast.
But how could he? He saves me for Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm a cold sandwich later.
That's horrible.
Oh, on novelty popcorn buckets, Rachel says they won't have the Yoshi bucket. They're all sold out. Sorry to be a Debbie Downer.
I assume they are all sold out, yeah.
Rachel, you just saved $45, but it's good news.
253 says, I have a 110-inch TV with a rear projection and stadium speakers in my media room. I have a 70-inch TV downstairs with a sound bar. Cannot remember the last time I was in a theater.
All we need now is your address there, buddy. We're coming over.
Thank you guys so much for hanging with us today. We'll be back tomorrow. John Curley's coming up next. Bye-bye.
Congratulations to KIRO Newsradio's Charlie Harger and digital content producer Patrick Janasek, nominated for a Northwest Emmy Award for investigative reporting.
It began with a question from the community. It seemed almost too stunning to be true.
KIRO Newsradio is honored to be the only radio station nominated for the prestigious Emmy Award as part of our commitment to impactful storytelling across every platform, reaching into the communities we serve on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
You didn't work hard to watch your retirement unravel. You saved, you sacrificed, you built something meaningful for yourself and for your family. Hi, I'm Elder Law Attorney Rajiv Nagaich. I've seen what happens when unexpected health events collide with traditional retirement plans. Savings that took decades to build drains away faster than anyone expected. At LifePoint Law, we help you build a life plan to help you protect your assets and way of life. If you are retired or thinking about retiring, now is the time to double-check your retirement plan.
Retirement doesn't have to feel like a gamble. With straightforward planning and clear answers, LifePoint Law replaces fear with clarity, but only if you start now. Attend the next seminar Tuesday, April 7th in Bremerton, the 9th in Olympia, or the 11th in Federal Way. Seats are limited. Sign up now at lifepointlaw.com. Visit lifepointlaw.com today.
How was your break? It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code THRIVE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code THRIVE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's THRIVE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
You know the one question that guys hate to have asked of them by their wives, Nick?
I can take a good guess.
I know you know 100 of them. This is the worst one. Do these jeans make my butt look big?
Whoa.
Can't answer that one, right? What I've noticed is whenever you ask me questions like that, I just simply say, oh, I don't know. What did the doctors at Longevity Medical Clinic say?
Well, the doctors at Longevity Medical Clinic would tell me that my butt looks great in those jeans now that my hormones are balanced.
What'd they do? Did they give you something to bring your weight down?
No, just a result of having my hormones balanced caused me to lose weight. Who would have known? I had no idea that would be a result of it.
So that's good. So the answer is you look great. You're beautiful.
I feel great. I look great.
Yeah.
And I know it.
I've also noticed that your testosterone